Howdy everyone. Hopefully we are live. Let me flick over just to have a quick look. We are. There we go. I'm just waiting on YouTube there to give the information that it needs. It's got a little live button to give the information that it needs. It's got. There we go. I can hear myself. Well, delay, but I can hear myself anyway. Evening everyone. I hope everyone is well. I've got a like already. Well done. Thank you, whoever was that who clicked on the like button. Thanks very, very much. Why not? It was the first like of the evening. Right, so we'll let people jump on for a little while. There you are. There I am. Reason being, I've been toying around, messing around a little bit with not changing my swing. I don't know if I'm going to change my swing, but I just tinker from time to time, just have a little look at, do need a little bit more light on here. Let's see if we can get a little bit of light on me. I need another little light in front of me, so for live streaming, maybe a bit daft, but there you go. If I continue to do the live streams and the quantity of which I am, adds a little bit of light. There you go. Oh, is the chat working? The chat's working in front of me, which is even better. I don't want top chat, I want all the chat. Thank you very kindly. So on my OBS, I have obviously two windows, which I'm working on the studio side for production, and obviously the side which I can see, which you can see. And I can see the chat as well, but the chat's obviously quite small. So I've now got another box to the left-hand side, so I can see it bigger. Wonbin Yu, good afternoon from Atlanta. Good afternoon. Good evening from the UK. David M, good evening Dave. Niels, well, welcome again as always. The magic of Windows, yes, the magic of OBS. Mr. Butcher, I hope you are all well. Yes, I've been tinkering anyway. So, and we'll chat about what I would like to chat about today going forward, but I just wanted to test. So last week we had the FSX Pro test, where I hit some shots and I wanted to test to see if the stream was going to die because of the PC having to work really, really hard when it comes to FSX Pro, which is a Unity-based graphics engine. But now I've got, as you can see here, I have now got FSX Play. Now FSX Play is at 4K, yeah, and it does rhyme. I'll move that over there. FSX Play at 4K, and so it is going to put one heck of a yeah on the old PC, and also streaming as well, so it's going to be a bit difficult. But I have the screen up in front of me, although I need to change the live chat size of the windows, because at the moment obviously my eyes, I'm going to struggle. But yeah, anyway, so before we get into the idea of the discussion today, I want to just, I've been tinkering a little bit. Let's go before anyone overheats and or bugs. Yeah, I know, we'll do. So everyone keeps on going on, right? And not say everyone, it's not everyone at all, but the overwhelming critique I have of visually people see of my golf swing is that I stand really far away and I'm really flat and this. And now, okay guys, I'll be honest, when it comes to golf, I have taught many different people at many different levels doing many different weird and wonderful things, and you know what? It all comes down to a spectrum. Now you have what they call a spectrum, you have what's acceptable within the range of golf. Now whether that be really, really this way, really, really that way, you can still play good golf within that spectrum. If you go either side of it, you're now talking about compensatory things and stuff like that, and it just doesn't work. And so you need to be within a reasonable spectrum. And I am, obviously, yes, I am one way, but I'm not out of the spectrum. If not, I wouldn't be able to play or hit golf balls to the extent that I do, and the relative consistency that I do without it, and blah, yada, yada. That's the same with everybody, so it doesn't matter. But I have been tinkering about trying to get my hands up higher. It feels to me, when I do that, which you can see in the top left hand, that to me feels like I've got my hands up there. Obviously I haven't, not even close, but it does feel like that. I'm trying to get my hands up. Now, does it make any difference? Yes, it makes me a hell of a lot more inconsistent when I'm hitting, because obviously it's a new feeling, and that's no different to what happens when you go for a lesson, and the first thing that the pro will see will look at your swing, and it'll be like this, that way, what would it be, and they'll be going, right, you need to do this and need to do that, and that will have the effect of making you even more inconsistent to start with the view to changing it, making you better. So I'm just exhibiting the same as what I see, or did see definitely day to day when I was coaching full time. It just feels a bit weird at the moment. It's still fine. It's just that I don't feel that I can control face to path as much. So strike was pretty good, which I was surprised at, but face to path is slightly open, lie angle is more down. But yeah, it's a swing kind of feeling, and I don't know if it's right or wrong. I should change it or I shouldn't, but it's an idea either way. Let me know if the stream's coming through okay, if it's I don't know. The old PC might be struggling somewhat. So that was my normal, and apart from slightly low on the face, better delivery. I don't know. I might be sort of like just like pointlessly doing something for pointlessly doing something, because again, I don't necessarily, if there's no actually benefit in me doing it, why do it? Yeah, see, that's new way. Slightly, I mean, it's, oh, that's tight. Anyway, enough of me hitting. Let's have one more go. I tell you what, I've noticed that 92.4, I haven't hardly hit any balls today at all, and I'm already at 92.4 miles an hour. Oh, I see, I can't, that's my new way, and I just feel weird. It's like really low on the face. Good delivery, you'll be able to see there. Come on. There you go, club path 0.5, face to path 0.2, but just really low on the face. Just like really, really low. One more. I don't know, should I change, should I not? There you go. But did the, has it come up okay? The whole idea, has it come up okay? Right. Neil's basically said, what are you ultimately trying to achieve with the change? Nothing really, I'll be honest. I'm tinkering for no reason at all. It doesn't actually give me any beneficial difference whatsoever at all. It's just to stop people whinging at me. And if it was just a case of I can just learn very quickly just to raise my hands a little bit or whatever it be, just to stop the odd occasional or not even a question, it's a statement, and there's no constructive part of it whatsoever, then but hey, it's, yeah. David says, as your channel is massively based on you being consistent, I'd leave aesthetic swing changes well alone. Dave, I think you might be right. Again, I mean, consistency is only a case of if you learn to do something different, whatever it be, and you learn to do that thing consistently over time, then there you go. I suppose you'll get your consistency. Either way, it may take me a little while to do it, but yeah, that's the whole idea anyway. But I might just leave myself as being flat, because I feel when I'm doing those swings that I'm like, my hands are up here, but they're nowhere close to that. They just feel really high. Feeling real is two completely different things. So, right, to get back to, Niels has basically said, agree with David 100%, as I do as well. Aesthetics is completely exactly what it is. If you look at the PGA Tour itself, if you have the scope of different weird and wonderful swings that you see there playing at that kind of level, again, going back to what I said at the start, as long as you're within that spectrum, you're within that acceptable boundary, that layer of understanding, could be this far, could be over this way as well, but as long as you don't have to then compensate for that, then that's a swing characteristic, not a fault. But yeah, Anthony Hemsworth, hello Anthony, hope you're doing well. You're nearly a robot, I wouldn't change anything. I'm not. I have some days, like when I literally just done the JPX 923 forged against the JPX 921 forged. On that day, I was hitting everything out of the toe, literally everything out of the toe. It's just weird, and you get these days, of course you do, every golfer gets it. And obviously because of the fact that I've got quad, every single time I hit, I can map exactly what I'm doing every single time, and most golfers don't have that. They go down to the range and wonder why they're not hitting it very well. Well, yeah, you can find out. But yeah, and it took me a little while when it comes to doing the proper tests behind the scenes as such, turn the camera off and then bash it a load of times, to try and get my strike back towards the heel, or actually it wasn't heel at all, it was back towards the middle, because I was so just baseline toey that day. Would I change anything on the basis of no whatsoever, because, I mean, what was I there? 2.6 millimeters toe, 4 millimeters low. Fine. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't worry about it. It's day-to-day difference. Remember, you react to a pattern, you don't react to a shot. Ian, hello Ian, hope you're well. Evening Jay, Mizuno changed the length of their irons somewhat about 8 or so years ago, as they used to be a quarter to a half inch shorter. Yes, they did. They 919, was it JPX 919? I've got all the heads down there. I don't know if you can see. Well, if I flick over to this camera, you can see the heads, and that's why I basically I took a photo of them earlier today. Well, earlier today, a few hours ago, to stick it up on YouTube community to showcase obviously what I'm doing tonight, etc. So I've got some of the heads. Now I've got a box down here with all the heads. So I've got EZs in there as well, but I didn't want to go too far back because it's getting a bit crazy. And I'll be honest, I hate the EZs. Can't stand those black golf clubs. Personally, I just didn't like them. So nothing against people with EZs, they're great golf clubs. I just didn't like them. But again, that's personal. So, but Ian, absolutely right. Yes, they did. They upped their length a little bit to be more in line with European market. Because remember, obviously, Japanese manufacturer, generally speaking, they were two things. They were fractionally shorter when it comes to the shafts, and they were also fractionally flatter because of the nationals' height difference. And I suppose if Mizuno were made from the start in the Netherlands, with them being quite a tall race, they'd be longer and more upright as well, but they weren't obviously, so there you go. Perry Mason, hello Perry, I hope you are well and nice to have you here. Hands high is same swing, change my club pro gave me. Hands high is same swing change my club pro gave me. So sorry, that's me reading it more than you writing it, so don't worry, that's me. I agree, it feels like the hands are straight up in the air. I can't find any difference. I cannot see. I mean, what was over there? I mean, okay, I'm 2.5 degrees. They're not Lionel. They're not fit for me anyway. Slightly across, slightly open. That can happen if you're feeling higher. But yeah, strike's okay, loft's no different, peak height's pretty good, descent angle's pretty good, carry short, but again that could be because I'm a little bit across and open on that swing. But I can't really see any differences between the new idea and the more consistent old one. So again, as David says, if it's just aesthetics, why bother changing? You're right, there's no bother whatsoever, there's no point whatsoever. Right, so David M says, oh, Jim Furrick, I forgot one you said there. Robin Yu says, really want to swing like you. No, you wouldn't, because you get to a point of when you start and all your achy bits and hands, my fingers hurt as I'm getting older. Especially I've noticed it this year since I've gone to YouTube more full time. I've been obviously hitting more and more shots. And my hands, my knuckle hurts, and I'm just getting old. Everyone gets old doing this kind of thing. Whoever said golf wasn't physical. There you go. David M, during Furyk mode, normal, etc. Absolutely right when it comes to weird and wonderful swings. Right, David says again, Ian M, think the MP4s, 5s were the last ones 0.25 shorter. Quarter inch shorter. It's 6 mil, so I would not bother whatsoever over 6 mil. I've been quite happily add 6 mil. 6 mil's nothing. Every half a inch is 1 degree, so you're looking at half a degree when it comes to lie. It's minimal. I won't worry about that whatsoever. Although the MP4 or 5s were the last of the double chromed Is that right? Am I saying the last ones of the double chroming, as in like, the ridiculously sharp? So 221s, I have hang on, I'll show you. Up on the top right hand corner, I've got a case in there, and I'll turn the lights down a little bit so you can actually see. There you go. So in there I've got my, or if I can make it a little bit, there you go. In there I've got my 221 set, my chrome 221 set, which I like because I like shiny stuff, and I've got my copper set of MP20s in there. But even though the 221s, obviously they're Mizuno's blades, you compare the 221 to an MP4, an MP5, and the MP4 and 5 just seem more shiny, of which I like because I'm a bit of a chrome fan. I do like chrome. So, Nico, hello Nico, welcome. Got fitted for JPX Hotmail Pro 47 and forged. 8 a pitching wedge for a combo set. Thanks to your reviews, it helped me get a nice balance in my iron game. Good, I'm really glad. I'm really glad that the whole idea of me doing what I do is to give you guys an understanding of how golf clubs really work and if they work for your strike pattern or not, because everyone has a pattern, regardless of what it is, everyone has a strike pattern. And it is best to obviously know your strike pattern to understand what golf clubs to get, because again, if you don't know your strike pattern, all golf clubs react differently to different people because of their strike pattern for one. And so, different forgiveness points off different parts of the face and all that. That's the reason why I do it. So when you go to spend your money, your hard-earned money on whatever you're going to buy, because you love golf and that's your pastime, that's your hobby, then you do it sensibly, you do it properly. And I don't care who you're going to spend the money with, as long as you do one thing, spend it correctly once, not spend on many different bad decisions over and over and over again, because you just end up wasting money. So Perry says, I have to admit it has worked for me. Must mean my old swing was terrible. No, to be fair, I mean, what happens when it comes to, well, different people are different, but when it comes to coaching wise, generally speaking, whenever I've coached different people, I always sort of kind of like block them into two. I mean, obviously I don't talk to them about it as I have this in my head, but I kind of block them into two groups. One, people that all have the lesson, understand the lessons as all groups do in essence, but they go away with, are they going to practice or not? Effectively, yeah. And you have the group that's really enjoyed the lesson, really understands what to do, but then because of their work-life balance and everything else, they struggle to actually put the work in to put that change into practice and then obviously get it into swing, like muscle memory into their swing, into their baseline swing. And they get the other ones that learn much faster, which they have got time to be able to put that into practice and spend the time putting the change in, practicing that change, and so that becomes normal. And then you obviously can progress faster. That's not saying anything, either one of the groups or anyone within the group is less determined than one or the other. It's basically just down to lifestyle. And people that haven't got their lifestyle in a way that they have got the ability to spend the time they need to practice what they need to, unfortunately are at disadvantage to the people that will have the time to spend however many hours it is per week to work on the swing change. So again, that's just one of those things. So if you spend more time doing something, you will automatically become more consistent doing it. So Brand, hello. How does Mizuno handle effective bounce? Effective bounce. So you've got static bounce, and obviously effective would be potentially what you're saying as in dynamic, or are we talking how does Mizuno handle bounce full stop? The JPX 923 forge is thinner with higher bounce compared to Hot Metal Pro, which is wider sole with slightly less bounce. Effective bounce. Okay, so yes, when you're talking about, it depends on what you want to talk about. Bounce from the point of view of the physical angle attached to the bottom part of the sole, whatever the bounce you want to call it, or the effective bounce, which has that angle tied to the width of the sole. Hi John, just thought I'd say hi John, hope you're well. I did see you've, I'll read that in a second, but yeah, glad you did. So, when it comes to an iron, yeah, I'll be honest when it comes to an iron. Different manufacturers have different takes on bounce, not offset, bounce. And so ping, for example, let's just pick on ping, because ping do stand out a little bit on this one. They have much higher bounce numbers than Mizuno. Yep, that's been the same. Now JPX 923, you are absolutely right. The bounce numbers increased slightly. But we are talking slightly. We are not talking it's doubled. It's increased slightly. And so in my experience, if I use a golf club with higher bounce, iron with a high bounce or low bounce, it makes no difference at all. I do not feel the difference in the bounce. I do not notice anything whatsoever, because we're talking about, I generally hit the small ball before the big ball. So if you're going to hit the small white ball before planet Earth, you are then hopefully, the turf interaction that you feel happens after the acoustic strike. And so feeling, to me, I feel the strike. I don't really feel turf interaction. Now, people that are a little bit more planet earthy and bally together, or at least the people that hit planet Earth first before the ball as a pattern, then they will feel turf interaction different. And so yes, going to something like a ping with a much higher static bounce amount, and obviously the width of the sole then also increases the effective bounce of that, then yes, going to something like a ping with that can make a difference to the consistency of your ball striking. But bear this in mind: if you go and buy equipment on the basis of trying to negate just a glaring swing fault, you're always going to be chasing the backside of wrong. So always get the swing fixed on the basis of what you should be doing within that spectrum of what's okay. Don't buy equipment, generally speaking, to fix a fault. A characteristic's fine, but not a fault. So, hi John, I just want to get on to what you were saying there. John says, I just got my JPX 923 Hot Metal Pros this weekend. Your reviews really helped make a choice. I'm glad it did. I'm hopefully, fingers crossed, John, everything is going to go brilliantly going forward when it comes to your golf, and it'll be a pleasure to have an update as to how you are getting on. Niels has popped on and saying to John, I got mine in November. You'll be very happy with them, I'm sure. And John's popped out saying, looks like my daughter will get the forged version. She added 12 yards of free distance to her current irons. Wow. Now, those irons either that she had were that bad, or they were very poorly fit by the time she got fit for the new ones. 12 yards is a lot. Like a lot in a fitting. Free yards as well. 12 free yards is a lot, but good. I'm happy. And then John says, thanks, Niels. Everyone's very polite. And Dave's popped and said, what do you think Mizuno's best looking club is from recent years? Okay, are we talking recent years from, I wonder if I can quickly add, something. Yeah, let's see if I can quickly add the very thing that I did today. There you go. Let's see if I can do that. So if I go, oh, is that on the wrong one? Oh, I've done it on the wrong one now. Or did I? Well, okay, doesn't matter. What I'm trying to do, I'll flick over and I'll show you what I mean. Chat in the box, consistency rules. Okay, yeah. That has definitely kind of paste. Go on. Can I paste something? Paste duplicate. Yeah, there you go. Right, it's a bit big, so I apologise. I'm doing this on the fly. Normally, you know, when people have live streams and stuff like that, they have someone to do this. But anyway, there you go. So that's the thumbnail for the video. And as you can see, you've got all the irons there from 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I have missed out the MP20s, sorry, the MP20, the 221, sorry, and obviously the current JPX 923, because obviously 21, 22, and then, yeah, that kind of idea. Why have I done that? Because obviously they're current, so there's no real point in having them up there. So what I've just done is I've added them on there. Now, the interesting one, Dave, I'll pop that back off again, because we don't want that over all the time. Mo, I have an issue with MP18. Now, we'll go into why in a sec, but John says she had second-hand ladies Clevelands, which are okay. This is the first time she's been fitted for irons. Wow, that's good. Therefore, the extra 12 yards. Mr. Mumble, good day, good morning, good evening, good night, good whatever the day part time is. MP20 MBs. Now, obviously, I've just included that picture. Now, if you wish, you can include the most modern day ones as well. I do personally believe that possibly my favourite iron ever, oh my word, I'm getting old. My favourite iron ever. Look at that gorgeous thing. The MP5. MP4, MP5, they are so alike. But I've got many lovely memories of hitting MP5. What a beauty that was. One of the best irons Mizuno have literally ever made. Just looks lovely. Neil's John Walsh, I had some irons that fit me poorly, particularly shafts and shaft weight. Shaft weight is very important. And gained at least the same amount of distance as your daughter. Wow, yeah. Just goes to show you how it's not, the interesting thing is where people get this wrong completely is they say that I don't see how a really good custom fit set of irons is really going to make that difference. It doesn't. What makes a difference is a really bad fitted set of irons. That's what really makes a difference, and especially if you just grow into a set of those where you don't physically go get sold them, you go for a fitting and get sold the incorrect ones and you play with them. But if you were just to have hand-me-downs off a friend or something like that, and you use them for a few years, you don't understand how much you're losing on the basis of, not because brand new equipment is magic. It's not magic at all. What it is just, it just showcases how badly fit people's current irons are. And so the emphasis is not so much on the gains that you're going to get with a brand new set, it's the losses that you're always experiencing that you don't know every single time you play with them because they're so badly fit. But yeah, same thing. So let's go to which one? Vishal Aurora, hello all. Hello Vishal, hope you are well. Nice to have you along. Nice to have you in the chat as well. Sean, hello Sean. MP53s, yes, the original combo set. MP18 SCs are great though. On MP18, that was an interesting one. We'll get to MP18 in a second. Michael Jones, hello from Georgia in the US. Hello Michael, hope you are very well. Long time Mizuno iron player, or iron lover, and all three of my boys as well played Mizuno irons. Youngest plays JPX SEL 921s, middle has combo MP20s, MBs and MMC, and oldest MP20 MMC full set. Wow, that was an expensive weekend when it comes to buying them, but no, they're good. That's, yeah. I've got them down there as well. They're in the picture. Obviously, I still use my MP20s. Haven't migrated over 221s because there wasn't that much of a difference, and I've just got such good relationship with my MP20 blades. I do feel that the 221s they suit my OCD better because they have the same kind of milling out on the side, not the toe relief. They also got heel relief as well, but the MP20s haven't. But I prefer the font of the MP20 over 221, and the feel obviously. And when it comes to, when I say the feel's identical, but it's the feel in my brain that I have with understanding how well they have worked for me over the time. So yeah, no different to these things. I have the exact same feeling with these. These things are just lovely, and I got so many good, like, yeah, just beautiful irons. Really are. K3966, hello, good afternoon Jay, good evening, good night, when it's 8 o'clock, yeah, you know. My favourite Mizuno iron of all time are the MP14s. Now they are going back some time. Wow. First time on live chat for Vishal, cold here, just outside of Chicago. Yeah, I did, hang on, where's my phone? I'm using it for thingy, for a little light, as you can see, look, there you go, because, yeah, I need another little light really, shine down on my little, because my cap's got black bit. If it had a white bit, yeah, it doesn't matter. So, okay, sorry, afternoon here in the States. Well, yeah, it's been it's been an okay day today when it comes to it, although in about 2 weeks today, I am literally on holiday. When it comes to holiday, I am honeymoon in 2 weeks time. So there will, or not, I need to find out what Vodafone's rules are when it comes to roaming, as in, again, because of Brexit and stuff like that, from the point of view of the people in the UK, I don't know what the situation is when it comes to little old me going to, say, Europe. Because I'm going to Morocco, they're not in Europe, so I need to find out what Vodafone's situation is when it comes to that. Because Mr. Mumbles did say about doing a very quick live stream while I'm on honeymoon, and it might be funny to do it, although the wife is absolutely fine with it. She doesn't mind whatsoever. She's very, very supportive, and I would not be I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for her. So yeah, but I don't know. Well, Visha says 2 weeks ago 85 Fahrenheit, today 38. Now that is a change. Welcome to winter again. 38 degrees. 38 degrees is what, 4 degrees C, 3, something like that. Just cold, just cold. 3 degrees, not very nice. Yeah, I'd rather you than me on that one. It was about 13 today, although by the looks of what's going to be in Morocco, it's like 38. Yeah, I'm going to come back a different colour. My little pasty body is not going to be this colour. Probably be red. I'll probably look like a lobster when I come back. Live stream Wi-Fi, not mobile signal, no matter where, will not work well. Okay, well, I'll see if I can get Wi-Fi then. Might be a good idea. But yeah, you two drink, YTD, YouTube drink time. Today I have mouthwash. There we go. Right, so MP18. Let's have a chat about MP18 and why I have an issue with MP18. Why do I have an issue with MP18? Well, because this. After this, the MP5, come the MP18. And this was the last of their normal forgings before they went HD, effectively. And it was the one before the copper underlay. And why I don't like the MP18 is whenever I tested the MP18 after hitting so much that I did of the MP5, it was fine. It worked really well, performance was really good, all the current things that you would normally associate with a Mizuno iron, of it just working really well. All Mizuno irons, let's face it guys, I mean, let's be absolutely honest when it comes to a Mizuno, regardless of what you like or don't like. I mean, I don't like the EZs. I didn't like the EZ Forge, I didn't like the black and all that. I just didn't like it. No, it wasn't nice whatsoever. But it still worked fairly well. So they don't make a bad iron, let's face it. It's just purely down to aesthetics on that, and I didn't like it. When it comes to MP18, because they changed their forging process from their worked well to the HD process with the high density one, where they have more of a 3D kind of forging, kind of compressive thing, rather than loads and loads of squidge. They're saying obviously it allows for a much better forging and a much more consistent forging, get that. However, it took away some of the feel, the acoustics, it took the softness away. And so when you had the MP5 going up against an MP18, the MP5 felt softer, quieter, duller, nicer off the face, so it's softer off the face, and it's acoustics. I didn't like that. And so And a lot of people didn't like it, and that was the overwhelming thing when it comes to the MP18. When it came out, there was this overwhelming feedback back to Mizuno. Look, it's nice, it works really well, well done. I mean, the split cavity idea when it comes to the SC and the MMC, the tungsten insert in the toe and stuff like that, the technology worked really well. It's just the feel. And they went away, obviously they did what they did, and they come back with copper underlay. They listened, and this is the good thing with Mizuno, and other companies do exactly the same thing. You know, Ping do exactly the same thing as well. They listen to the buying public, and basically they're saying that they critique it in a way that's saying that it's a constructive feedback. That's why it's important that people give constructive feedback, not just bash manufacturers over the head. Doesn't do. They will literally go la 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 la. But if they get enough people saying the same thing in a constructive way, guys, honestly, you guys have more power than you really understand. They do listen. They absolutely do listen. If there's an overwhelming suggestion that an iron is this or an iron is that, and it needs to be this or it needs to be that, as long as it's done in a constructive and respectful way, manufacturers do listen. They really do. And so henceforth came copper underlay. And that copper underlay brought back that softness, because obviously the layer of copper, it's still got that forging, and all of them now have still got that HD forging, which is potentially obviously much more consistent and blah blah blah. Yes, good, but has the effect of making things quite harsh. Add the copper, no problem whatsoever. It's brought back to the likes of MP5. But yeah, there you go. So that's why I don't like MP18, not because it performs poorly. It doesn't perform really, really well. It's just a feel. Right, I've got a few things to... Sean says, my first set of Mizuno irons were MP33s, very, very good. MP57s were brilliant. I've still got my set of MP57s. Nothing feels like a Mizuno, hashtag. I'm playing I230s now, fantastic clubs, brilliant. I couldn't agree more. Excuse me, YouTube when he pops. But they are absolutely right, 100% agree. I230s are my favorite. When it comes to ping, they are my favorite. They're the perfect blend of feel, forgiveness, traditional, semi-traditional lofts, but you can bend them around, and because of the fact that obviously you've got that higher bounce starting point with ping, you can crank them if you wish, and it doesn't affect bounce too badly. It will affect offset and other things like that, but yeah, it's I230s are my balanced perfect set when it comes to ping. What we got? Visual says, Jay, how much harder is it to hit the MP18 versus the 225? Night and day skill difference requirement? No. How much harder is it to hit any iron? What you're seeing more so is what is the drop off, say. So if you're going to go MP18 blade versus say 225, Mizuno Pro 225, MP 225, whatever you want to call it. It's Mizuno Pro, not MP now, but I would still call it MP because I can't help it. They are two completely different golf clubs. They have two completely different amounts of tech in them. They will react two completely different ways, and therefore potentially just perform completely different. And it's possibly just purely down to one thing and one thing only: strike. If you do the loft conversion, no difference. Obviously there is a loft difference between MP18 and 225s within the same numbered iron, but if you are talking about again the raw differences, if you hit the middle every single time, the only difference you really find the difference between 225 and MP18 and 225 will actually feel very, very similar because of the non-copper and the HD forging within the MP18 blade, and the 225 being a semi-hollow head tungsten lumped distance player's iron, they'll feel fairly similar. But the 225 will go longer, not only because of the strength and loft, yes, but because it's got a faster face, so you're going to gain. If you're talking about you're going to miss hit, that's when the 225 will overtake greatly the MP18. As soon as you start dealing with miss hits, having a head with tech in it, we'll call it tech. It's not pixie dust, it is the likes of multi-material stuff. It's tungsten, it's hollow heads. Those are the things which they can move the center of gravity around and make it more forgiving when it comes to heel, toe and everything else like that. So Right, I'm gonna have to go over because I'm not answering the questions as fast as people are writing them. But keep writing them in the comments, guys. I will get round to them as I'm going through every single one as best I can do. So keep messaging. Go on, keep chats going. I play Mora. Hello. Got the notification that you were live. Good. Get the bell on, people. Make sure you get the bell on because you don't want to miss me prattle on. There you go. And have your questions answered by this prattling pro. There you go. Where are we? There you go. Got an engagement. Want to stop in and say thank you so much for your content. My JPX 923 Forge Club just arrived today. Really good days. Blue box days are fun. Well, blue box obviously for Mizuno could be black box days for Callaway or red box days for TaylorMade. Whatever box day it is, enjoy your golf clubs. Excited to hit the range and lock in yardages. Yeah, remember when you go to the range, as long as it is a range where you have you can't have your golf balls to hit, but if they're proper golf balls, they're real golf balls, and they match what type of golf ball that you use within reason, and the fact that you've got some way of being able to measure exactly what those golf balls are doing, then do your gappings over there. Not many golf clubs or golf ranges have that capability, even Top Tracer. There you go. Right. Sean says, I agree to a certain extent, Jay, but the MP25s were the worst feeling Mizuno irons, even though they were very good. Bear with, people. Hang on one memento. I am just about to come back. As someone has, I will just go grab the old... Always, always, always keep your clubs clean as best you can. Right, so... MP25. There you go. And if I remember, and it's going back some time, and how many years is it going back? Oh, quite a few. What were they? 2015-ish, something like that. 2015 is quite some time ago, and if I remember, the 225, the MP25 was the first boron infused baby. Am I right or am I wrong? Write down in the old comments if I am wrong. But I think, yeah, it had boron infused in the old girl, and that did change its feeling somewhat. I think because up until that point, MPs hadn't really been multi-material. It had been, you get a little bit of help, say with like an MP57 over it, like, but they have been still based on effective blades within reason, a very small cavity blade or whatever it be, but that's it. So their MP design ethos up until that point had been the blade and then the slightly cavity back version of what, yeah? It's not up until this one really that we started seeing the difference. NH4, MPH4 and MPH5, but obviously they were only available in a certain number of golf clubs anyway, because they were the driving irons, you want to call it, or long iron replacements. But yeah, these were available in everything. And yes, you are right, they had boron in them, so they made them a little bit more, which made them feel a little bit more, not Mizuno like. But yes, you are right, they worked blooming well, they really did. Where am I? I've just noticed, I've missed a few, sorry all, I've missed a few. Sean says MP53's original composite, okay, yeah, Wobin, 221s, yes, got definitely on Wobin's, Wonbin's got 221s, I like that idea. I want to make sure I don't miss anyone. John says, do you have advice on how to transition smoothly into the downswing? I get a bit quick at times. Okay, so there's an interesting one when it comes to transition, the people's understanding of speed when it comes to transition. If you were to look at the physical transition of people, we're talking the point of where the golf club goes, we're moving from one direction, stops, and then moves in the back of that direction. Now, okay, a golf club is not like a piston in a car. It doesn't go up and then stop and then come back down again. It's moving in a circle like that. So the golf club will come, there you go. The golf club will come back to it's like that, and then it will drop slightly and then go like this. That's a generally speaking, or at least we'll change it, because people change their wrist angles. And as people change their wrist angles, the golf club doesn't just go straight back and then straight back through it. So it moves like that, and they change wrist angles, so the golf club, the head moves. So there is no such thing as a perfect 0 speed transition. Getting a bit quick in transition. I want everyone to be as fast as they possibly can do in transition. Why? Because the downswing is done in blooming nothing of a second, as opposed to their backswing. What most people get absolutely completely wrong, and I misunderstand it completely, is their backswing speed relative to their downswing, and then so that means then they pick on their transition. I have met not many people whatsoever that I've ever seen that you need to slow down in your transition, because that would have direct correlation to what they do at the impact at the golf ball. And so I'd much rather them be within tempo, within rhythm, whatever you want to call it, in sync on the way back, and then transition, get that speed going down, because you need to hit the golf ball. I mean, when it comes to golf, it is just a fact that speed is directly correlated to your handicap. The faster you go, the lower your handicap. Now, there is obviously exceptions to the rule and bits, of course there is, but that's the rule, and it works, it's correlative. So I would be looking at the speed of your backswing and not necessarily at the speed of transition. The transition has to go quick. You go back at a certain speed, but then you have to get going. If you're talking the likes of Ernie Els or Freddie Couples or something like that, the ones that stand out to be, even, is it Morikawa, the pause and stuff like that, his transition speed is where it stops and goes. That transition speed's hugely quick, like quick. So go with what is your natural and normal rhythm. You'll know if you're too fast, you'll know if you're too slow on the way back. Focus on your backswing speed, not necessarily on your transitional speed. That should help. Right, where are we now? Right, we're one bin back after now, because we just had Sean's. I had my little rant about MP25s. One bin says, after watching your wood versus hybrid, tried to buy STZ 230 wood, but found out there is no 7 wood. No, there isn't. A stop at 5. What do you think of adjusting a hosel of a 5 wood to higher loft? Well, our 5 woods are around about 18 degrees. Normally, that will then mean it will go to 20 degrees. Now, if you're talking about a normal 7 wood, in say a ping, is 20.5 degrees. So you could possibly get very, very close. So 21 degrees standard for a Mizuno 7 wood, but because you've got the loft sleeve, that will increase by 2 degrees. So you can get 1 degree, within 1 degree of a 7 wood. Yes, you are right. And if you then also shorten the shaft by ½ an inch, you can actually get the shaft length of a 7 wood. And so therefore within 1 degree, you are bang on. The problem is with a 7 wood of 21 degrees, you have the variability, you have the scope to be able to move the loft depending on what you need for distances. Or if you go get a 5 wood, chop it down by ½ an inch and also max out the loft addition as best you can do on the loft sleeve, you are basically just cementing in that one directional golf club. You can only go one way from there. You can't do anything else, which is a bit of a pain. Now, yeah, it is a bit of a pain that Mizuno do not offer the STZ 230 in a 7 wood. Why? Because there isn't enough call for it. Now, I don't know that for a fact, although I do know or have a inkling as to what their sales figures are when it comes to different golf clubs, and 7 woods do not sell in a custom environment as much as they should do, because fitters do not even bother. Why? Because do you know what, a lot of the golf clubs within the 7 woods and stuff like that are fixed hosel, and a lot of golf clubs which go to accounts from pre-books from manufacturers are fixed hosel, and so very, very difficult to custom fit when if I'm going to custom fit a 7-wood, I want to be able to get that 7-wood head and pair it with any shaft. So I can then give that to you to be able to hit. And then obviously then you can see the difference. I don't have to then stand there and go, well, if you imagine it was like this, and if you imagine it was in that shaft, but yeah, that same head, but it's going to be in the custom fit shaft that you've got on your foot. It just doesn't work. It's one thing if you trust the person that you're with. That's one thing. But guys, you shouldn't trust the people you are with. And this is not picking on fitters or anything else like that. You shouldn't. Unfortunately, when you've got custom fitting, which is a business of selling, and it shouldn't be, but it is, you have to be a cynic and a skeptic. Go with that. Ask as many questions as you can. Remember, trust is grown, and if you can ask the questions of the fitter and get some real honest, truthful responses, then obviously trust is growing, and so then you kind of get the idea. Right, where are we? What have we got here? So Vishal says, oh, now have I gone too far? Hang on, yeah, I've gone too far. I'm gonna have to go over here. So Vishal says, my mistake is the middle, lol. MP18 could be a challenge. One bin says, in order to use after MP2215 iron, in order to use after I'm sorry, one bin, that's my fault. I don't understand necessarily the question which you're asking. In order to use after MP2215 iron, as in what to use after it. Vishal says, this is my first live chat. Hello Vishal again. Have watched many of your earlier chats after the fact. Well, it's very good to have you here. Absolutely more than welcome. Perry says, still have the blue box of my 921 forged irons ready for resale time, and the bottle of oil for the faces. Yes. Oh, what do they come in? They come in that little blue pouch, didn't they? I've got some around here somewhere. Remember, you get these things in them, don't you, and stuff like that. Yeah, I remember. They're quite cool. They're a brilliant little gift thing, and it's obviously Mizuno do it from a care situation, because obviously these things are shiny, lovely, but they're only shiny and lovely if you look after them. And yes, they're going to get dinged, of course they are, especially if you don't use head covers. I mean, I'm a head cover user, and I know everyone gets really het up about head covers. I'm like, dearie me, people, they're head covers, they're fine. That's what you use them with woods, you use them with your putter. So we're already in the pattern of using head covers. It makes no difference. I have no gripes to anybody that don't use head covers. I'm thinking, well, they're your irons. You treat them exactly how you want. They're your irons, they're yours. But then also other people shouldn't have this huge uproar about their opinion on what other... Now, if you're talking about speed, now, it's just so to play with and stuff like that. I put mine in my pocket. So once I hit my shot, I go back, I clean the club, as in a case of I use my towel, clean it off, and then I've got my hand in my pocket and I'm putting it on there as I'm putting it in the bag. Takes no time at all. Now, okay, people are fumbling around and stuff like that, that's a different thing, but yeah. I don't understand why people get absolutely completely het up about head covers. For me, they just keep the golf clubs looking much better for longer. You don't get that bag chatter. Now, some people love the bag chatter. They see it as character building, and that's absolutely fine. Not saying it's wrong. It's just not for me. That's all it is. It's just not for me. But yeah. Vishal says, I literally clean my clubs after each round. Good, you should do. Absolutely, you should clean your clubs after each round. If not, what you end up doing is you get like little, I don't think that can you see that? I don't know if you can physically see it. Trying to get the light right. I've got like little tiny, it doesn't matter. On these ones, because they're DNA heads, they were old DNA heads from custom fitting, and they'll have little specks on them because of exactly that. Little kind of rust points that obviously if you get like tiny little bits of dirt in there with moisture, the trick is moisture. Keep your golf clubs clean. Do not keep your golf clubs in your car, and keep them, if you can, in a you don't have to vacuum pack them, but if you have them in a atmospheric stable, in like your house. In your house is generally fairly not in your bathroom, that's not, because obviously humidity levels and stuff. I don't know anyone else who keep the golf clubs in the bathroom, but you know what I mean, kind of got the idea. Perry says, still have the blue. Oh yeah, I've done that one. Sean says, absolutely correct, Joe. I just couldn't get on with the feel and sound. MP18, possibly. Sean also says, before the i230s, I was using my MP20 blades. 8 to pitching wedge and HMB 7 to 5 lofts. Lofts are adjusting the blade irons. Not a great fan of that. 1 degree strong, 2 to 1 degree stronger in the short irons, leaving the pitching wedge at 46. I'm not a great fan of messing around with 221s in the lofts, especially cranking them. Why? Because they haven't got a lot of bounce anyway. You crank them, you make them a little bit more offset. They're a blade, they shouldn't be looking more offset. And if you're trying to blend with 225s or HMBs, I'd probably bend the HMBs weak because it brings everything in line to the blade. Kieran, A Special K, hello mate, hope you're well. Just another quick pop in tonight as I'm at work. There you go. Hope the stream goes well, enjoy the Mizuno chat, still 9 wood searching, yes. Also, Kieran, I don't have, but your screw has arrived for your pingwood. Just, you know. Vishal says, I use head covers on all my iron sets. Well done you. I'm happy that you do, because it keeps them looking lovely and shiny, which, yeah, they should, within reason. So, right. Go on, everyone hit the like button. Do me a favor and whack the like button. While you're there, whack the like button. It will do me well, YouTube likes it. There you go. YouTube likes it, so do I. It's true, we do. Sean says, most people shouldn't play a deep face fairway wood. Ping's G430 shallow face woods are game changer, easy to launch, and turf interaction. Love the turf interaction. Plus you can loft down and also open the face. You can, because of the offset camber sleeve and all that lot, which is quite cool. Right, so when it comes to fairway wood, let's have a little think and chat about fairway woods, the differences between fairway woods. There is a point to different fairway wood designs. When you're talking about deep faced and yeah, all that lot. Mainly it's down to sole design more than anything else. So you get mainly 2 different types of sole design. You get the flat sole design, which G range fairway woods, generally speaking, are. They're very flat in themselves. They're actually quite flat in how they're designed, and so they are great, absolutely great off certain surfaces, not so much on others. So when it comes to a fairway, perfect, lovely. When it comes to the rough condition, when you have the fairway woods with a slightly more U-shaped domed, upside down dome design, they cut through the grass better. However, when you take those U-shaped little domey upside down domed fairway wood designed on the fairway, because they are more leading edgy, there's not got so much resistance on the ground, they are much more sensitive to turf interaction, and so you can be a little bit kind of scabby with your strike pattern hitting the ground early with a G430 because it's flat sole design. But you're right, because of how different golf clubs do different things. I mean, deep faced, and it's no different to drivers off the deck. At one point, drivers off the deck become a little bit daft because of the deepness of the head, and because you're talking about how much compensation you're going to have to put into your swing because of such. So it's a little bit crazy. Vishal has very kindly, thank you very much, Vishal, first one of the night. I do appreciate it greatly. Vishal has donated $9.99, $10. Thank you very much, Vishal. It really is appreciated, and it is very much so appreciated when people do things like that. It is I mean, when it comes to, was it last week, we were talking about, I didn't get a copyright strike. It wasn't that. I put out some content, and I had some music in the background, like I have got music in the background now, and I've been using that music for, don't know how long, a long time. And they changed the actual author, well, the person who makes it, the creator, there you go, of the music, changed what he wants to do with licensing and didn't tell anybody. And of course, then anything from that point onwards, anything new content goes out there, gets a copyright infringement. So any kind of revenue that I would make from certain things has been taken away. And so when you're dealing with a business model that I'm trying to create within YouTube, doing it in a way where I'm trying to do it as honestly as I possibly can do, not succumbing to the quick and easy wins when it comes to just clickbaity stuff, making content however long it takes me to make, and it does take me a long time to make videos because of the way I do things, and I know that I am potentially going to constrict my growth on the basis of why and how I do things, because it is very data orientated, but it's very open and honest, and I try as best I can do to be honest. And so hence they say, well, they say crime never pays, honesty never pays really either. So yeah, so when people like Vishal donate $9.99, it means an awful lot. It really does. Thank you very, very kindly. Yeah, there you go. Right, so Rami, hello. With Mizuno Irons, which Mizuno Irons work for sweeper of the ball? Sweeper rather than digger. So if we're just talking about the classic understanding of what bounce does within those, and it is much more complicated than that. If you're a sweeper of the golf ball, then you don't need bounce. If you're a sweeper of the golf ball, you don't need bounce. If you're a digger of the golf ball, then you need more bounce. But that is very simplistic, and that is wrong, because it is far more individual than that statement suggests. Okay, if I was going to have to cast a net over that statement, I would be right more than I'm wrong, but I would want to test you more than anything else. There you go. Perry says, I have the 430s in the 5 wood at 18 degrees and the Cobra Raspberry 3 wood at 14. Ooh, strong 3 wood. Raw. All good. I've got a 3 wood and it's at 17 degrees. So whap it as high as I can to get as much height on it as I can, because I need it to stop into a green. Modern day 3 woods go so blooming far with their spin profiles that are adjusted over time that I am looking to try and get that golf ball going, and just, yeah. Where before, with the spin profiles used to be higher, the ball used to climb, used to kind of go, if I can get it, it used to climb up like that and then peak and then come down steeper. Now it is going much more rainbow flighty because of the changes in ball design and also the changes in CG of the heads. Because it's distance orientated, peoples. That's the whole idea of where the distance has come. It's come from club head design, etc. Niels has very kindly, and he's just sent me a donation of 50 Danish kroner on the basis of saying for an Arnold Palmer drink in Morocco. And he's even done the classic. He's even done the emojis for it as well. If only I had well, yeah. It would be very funny. One day I'll have a Arnold Palmer on live. So, right. Sean says, I don't work for Ping J, I'm an electrician. That's a good job to be an electrician. Just do it indoors. If I'd be an electrician, but I'd have to work indoors. I wouldn't want to, yeah. Anyway, electricity and water don't mix, so yeah, do everything indoors. If can help people, I have a driver speed of 112. Good speed on average, and I use G430 Max, I430 Max, G430 Max, 5 and 7 wood, 5 lofted down to 16.5, yeah, and 7 wood lofted to 20 degrees. Okay, loft sleeve on a G430 again. They used to go on the old 400s, and before G400s before, they used to go 0.6 and 1 degree. Since the change, they go 1 degree and 1.5. So your 7 wood is a 20.5, and if it's been adjusted down, it'll be either 19.5. I'm not arguing over half degree. And Sean, do you know what? Absolutely right. Just because you've got a speed, if anyone saw what the test that I did with the hybrid, the fairy wood and the long iron, all at 22 degrees, at 2 different speeds, well, that was fun. A lot of shots. But the overwhelming thing that I got from that, not just from the honest information that I wanted to put out there for you guys to understand that really what kind of golf clubs that you should be using at what speed, is, if anything, it further brings the realization to me that I really need to be using 7 wood. And I could use my 7 wood, but crank it down a little bit to say 19.5 or something like that. Maybe 18.5, I'm not quite sure. Well, it won't be, will it be 1.5, so it'll be 19 degrees. To be very much so like a standard 19 degree 3 hybrid, because of the height benefits. And even with my 3 hybrid, I struggle sometimes to get it to stop into a green. So that's the biggest real, even at me and at my level, I'm still not realizing, I knew already. It's just that, I mean, it's not bravado, and it is, but I got rid of my 4 iron ages ago because of going the hybrids. But at what point do you stop? Well, it comes a point of where I'm getting older, and yes, I'm 92 miles an hour average with my 7 iron and 110 to 112 miles an hour with driver or whatever it be, but it's getting harder and harder to do that every single year. Now, unless I want to go down to the gym and start working out, well, I ain't got time to do that. Well, I have got time because there's 24 hours in a day, and of course you're sleeping for some of it. So if you wanted to work out, yes, you could. So I'm wrong in what I just said there. There's always time to do something. However, my motivation is not quite there enough for me to dedicate a certain time out of the 24 hours that I am not even conscious for, am I? I am on this planet for 24 hours each day to do the gym thing. So yeah, it just becomes more difficult. And going to a 7 wood, absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely right. Vishal says, Jay, if one increases loft on the Stealth 2 plus fairy wood, 5 wood, would the closing of the face be the same as, say, equivalent to Stealth 2 HD? No. No. You'd need to close it more. It doesn't close by a huge amount on just a the HD effectively, because remember as well, it's not just the closing of the face, it's also the center of mass of the head, and then also the lie angle of the HD as well. So everything is, yeah. Golf Addict says, in the house, finally. Always good to have you here. It is always. Excited to have 4 tee times this week. 4? Yeah, that's a fair few tee times. I hope you enjoy yourself. Definitely, you've waited long enough. Definitely have waited long enough. Some people have been waiting a long time for Winter to just do one. Yeah, so, right, where are we going? I just want to make sure. Right, so I might hit some more balls for a bit of fun. The problem is, if I don't move for a little while, this is what. So I finished off. There we go. This will give you an idea. 92.06. Let's flick over. Right. So, oh my word, 92. Oh my word! Yeah, I've just got up off the seat, and I'm doing this with my back and everything. Oh. So this is what I have this problem, and it is the fact that as I get older, when I was younger, I used to literally just be able to get out the car, go get whatever club I want to and start whacking, start hitting shots before anyone gets on the, yeah. But yeah, I'll get over here. Did play 10 straight rounds a few weeks ago. So tiring, yes, great. Golf Addict, nothing like spring. Careful you don't injure yourself, absolutely. You've waited that long to play. The last thing you want to do is do yourself an injury. Do yourself a mischief, that's not the right idea. So, same golf club, so I'm not changing. Do you know what, that's the thing, straight away, my hands, my arms, they just hurt. That's what happens when you get older. So, guys, we know when you see I do my data sets, yeah, I have to do them in a way because I can't hit too many shots too quickly because obviously you time myself out, but I can't then hit loads of shots then stop, because when I come back to it, my body has started to cool down and I hurt. But there you go, that's the punishment of getting older. So 92.06, now I'm going to swing, I'm not going to swing like I'm trying to chase 92.06. I'm just going to swing and see what I was doing at 92.06 and just see how much speed I am there or not. And I will not be able to guarantee strike as well, as I've cooled down. See, look at that one. Oh, and that's an example. Now, okay, it's fine, yeah, because generally speaking, I will do that. Ready? 86.5 miles an hour, so I've lost about 6 miles an hour, give or take, and I've lost strike. That's 12 mil toe, 4.9 mil high. It's fine, my delivery was still fine, that's why it's hit target, but it's just short. It's short for two reasons: one, poor strike, and two, slow swing speed. Oh. And as 89.2, open face, slightly low on the face, but oof. See there, yeah, I can see the PC starting to be a little bit stuttery because it's trying to do loads of things at the same time. Just 8 mil low, as you can see there. Again, face fractionally open, but as I warm up, so I've added some more speed. Slightly low on the face again, 90 miles an hour on the dot, but as you can see, I'm warming up. I'm starting to dial in a bit more. But it's interesting, isn't it, how much I slow down over time, and that's just normal, that's natural, I can't help it. And then I'll warm up again. That's me down here, I'm just reading the comments. I should do it over here really, shouldn't I, so you can actually see me. Did a round last week, was pretty good. Golf Addict Vishal says that Niels was in Copenhagen a few times last year and played at the Scandinavian, the old course. Awesome. Golf Addict are a little sore, but well worth it. It's always good. You don't mind being sore when you play golf sore. It's always nice when you play golf sore. Right, let's see if I can get it dialed in a bit more. Oh, dearie me. So, I've got a 7-iron, what am I hitting here? JPX 923 Tour in my hands. Getting a bit low heely, but decent-ish delivery. We'll take that. What's the speed? 89.81 miles an hour. There's a much more of a sort of, it was heely, but it was pretty good strike. It was decent. What was that? Slightly across, slightly open, but now that's an interesting, that didn't feel that. That felt to me fairly good, not 8 mil heel. Over the same one. That's basically over the exact same Pro Tracer, what I call it. But I mean, yeah, 90.78, so I'm 91 miles an hour now, so I'm warming up. Getting old, wait until you catch me up. A career in the army and the police hasn't helped with musculoskeletal injuries either. Sorry for that, fella. My 8-year-old daughter is going to be giving me shots soon. Yeah, that's scary. Neil says, at Vishal, the Scandinavian is probably the best and most prestigious course in Copenhagen, in the Copenhagen area. Nice choice. Smiley face. Vishal says, always a hot shower afterwards. Single malt scotch always helps. It does. Michael. Hello, Michael. Hope you're well. At my age, and I also mountain bike and hike. I still can't jump out the truck and go for first tee. Yeah, that's car park golf. My middle, who is a scratch 20, yeah, he's 21. And we did this, unfortunately, last week, 6 holes to warm up. Yes, that's very true. I did a video about what you should and should not do when it comes to it. And one of those is always warm up. Car park golf is never good at all. Oh, that's terrible. Terrible strike. Fine result. This is me all over until I warm up. I will scab it about and I'll hit some bad shots and stuff, of course I will do. That's left. Ah, you bummer. That's going to go in the bunker. Yeah, first miss green. It's a shame. You can see all these ones up here, look, up the top here. All the good ones, and then one that sits out there. Yeah, there you go, it's one of those things. Right, let's go hit one more, and then I'll go back to the screen to answer some questions. That's poor strike. Slightly low toe. Green hit, absolutely fine though. You'll see that on there, slightly low toe. 6.2 mil, I love that, 6.2 and 3.9 mil toe. But decent delivery. So 91 miles an hour, club path 0.4, face to path 0.6 closed, lie angle 1.3 down. Let's try and get that lie angle up by 1 degree. So hit another shot, trying to get my lie angle, change my lie angle from 1 down to 1 up. This is how sad I am. And then we've got club path 1.6 from the inside, face to path 0.4, lie angle 1.1 up. Yep, I am a human launch monitor. When I get warmed up, it's quite funny. I can get like that sometimes. Just go crazy doing things like that. It is a bit of fun. Right, glove off. Right, where are we? Right, Neil says Jay is playing office chair golf, the evil twin of car park golf. Yes, it is. Have a hit. Oh, Neil, what are we talking about, Nick? YouTube drink. Thank you very kindly. Yes, the evil twin of car park golf, I am. But that just gives you a little snippet understanding of me. I'm a human. I mean, I obviously make my content and you see what I do on camera. Generally speaking, I'm pretty good. But generally speaking, also, within reason, I've done some warming up beforehand. I may do some warming up and then not do anything for a little bit while, but you can see already from that first shot, from the shots I did beforehand, I lost 6 miles an hour. Now, what happens when you're playing golf and you're waiting for your playing group ahead of you to get their butts moving, and it could be however long before you hit another shot? You've got to play that into your head when it comes to it. You cool down a bit, add some golf club, add half a club. Excuse me, YouTube Winnie Pops. Ritual says, at Neil's, absolutely, came highly recommended, but is very difficult, yes. Golf Addict says, I am guilty of car lot golf, car lot park golf, car lot park golf, car park golf, car lot, well, you know what I mean. Sometimes I do stretch, but too many times in my drive on the first swing on the day, yes, that's, yeah, not good. You can hurt yourself doing that. Michael Jones says, yeah, range was closed and it only took 2 hours to play the round. Wow. Mountain course. I swing a yellow weighted club to warm, but I need to hit an actual ball to get a rhythm before playing. Absolutely, because not only you just got to try and within your pre-shot stuff, it's not, or pre-warm-up idea, pre-round warm-up, it's not just to get your swing speed up to normal operating total, your body up to normal operating total. It's also to work out what you're doing that day. Now today, as you can see there, generally speaking, I'm playing a fairly neutralish flight. So sometimes I might play a little bit of a draw. Some days I might play a little fade, whatever, or just absolutely straight. All depends on what I'm playing with. And as long as my flight is no different to what you see there, that's controllable. I mean, what was that? 3.5 yards offline, you're fine. I can't complain whatsoever. It's fine. I'm not going to be trying to change that baby draw into a straight shot or a baby fade. I'll play with it all day. No different if it's a fade, don't care, play with it. If it's too much, if it's like a pronounce something, but it's gone, my delivery's fairly boring, I don't really have an issue whatsoever with pronounced flight anymore, so I don't have a two-way miss as such. Right. Here we got Michael Jones says, at Golf Edit, yeah, close your eyes on the first one and have a breakfast ball. Like that one. Sean says, Jay, fantastic show as always. I think I speak for everyone to thank you for your commitment and energy to help not just decision making on clubs, but you're a great pro. Sean, thank you. That's a very, very kind thing for you to say. It really is. And Golf Addict has just gone and said lol. I'm assuming that he's talking about Michael's, not about what Sean just said. You can say if you want, I don't mean, I was trying to make, as I was talking then, my brain was trying to make something out of LOL. I agree with Sean. Yeah, that's fine, that's no worries. Thank you very much, Sean. It's very, very appreciated. It very much so is. And I'm glad that you enjoy listening to me prattle on about stuff. I do this for one reason. Let's face it, it's not money, because yes, at one point this will be a viable business, hopefully, YouTube, for the amount of time I spend on it, and it takes me doing it, and I could just decide just to be like everybody else when it comes to the creation of just large volume based stuff, just churn it out, and you grow. You will do, especially if it was more entertainment based stuff, just doing it on the golf course and having a laugh, and it would work. But I do believe, as YouTube, as a GOOGLE object by the side of me, has just piped up and is listening to what I'm saying. So hopefully that doesn't go off. If that does go off, I'll unplug it, because it's now listening. I saw the little thing spin round. Yeah, but the whole idea, so I could make just general stuff, but I honestly do believe that what I'm doing, there is a requirement for it. Now, TXG also do an exceptionally good job. They really, really do. They really do. And I would like to be able to have access to the amount of equipment that TXG have got. And of course, yeah, they've gained followers and views, basically. I mean, obviously subscribers is a different thing. So views you need to make the business viable. Yeah, to earn enough money from YouTube to add to sort of survive doing it. Everyone's got bills to pay. But then you need subscribers to be able to then persuade the manufacturers to allow you to have stuff to test, to make content, to get more views, to make the business more viable. It's a catch-22 situation, and it is a bit of a pain in the backside, I must admit. But I do honestly believe, to the bottom of my heart, bones, or whatever you want to call it, that what I do, there is a requirement. That's GOOGLE thing piping up. Shut up. I honestly do believe that what I do, there is a market for it, for people to understand truly how golf clubs work. It's boring, possibly, absolutely, but that's my opinion. Anyway, I suppose history will be the identifier if that works or not. Mr. Mumble says, my friend got fitted from Mizuno Irons, JPX 923 Hot Metal Pro with Project X IO shafts. Interesting shaft. Are they the same Project X IO shafts that is offered by Mizuno stock? Saw on Mizuno website. Yes. Yes, effectively. So you got the 5.5, you got the 6. I don't think they do 6.5 offers. Don't know, can't remember now. But yeah, they are. So. Good shaft. I've got them. I had them in my Mizuno Pro 225 media samples, the IOs, and I think it was in 5.5. Very, very good. I mean, just feel-wise, it's just for me. You know, when it comes to shaft, I don't care about shaft and the slightest. Doesn't bother me. But I like the feel of it. It's some shafts I just don't like the feel of. But it doesn't make any difference. I will still hit them. No different, but it just feels quite nice. I'm used to talking about shaft. I mean, I deal with people when it comes to shafts and stuff like that, absolutely, because 99% of people are shaft sensitive, so shaft makes a huge difference to them, so it's just, I find it very, very difficult to not appreciate, I do appreciate it, to when you sympathise, not when you sympathise, what's the word? Someone help me, I'm looking for a word. When you are not emotive, go on, empathetic. I empathise possibly, but I can't feel it. So I'm trying to, yeah, it's difficult. But then, Sean says, I waited 45 minutes at Quinta Del Lago South on the par 3 11th. 40. Okay, I hit a 6 iron, normally hit an 8 iron. Slow play is a killer. 45 minutes, you're right on that one. Holy moly, yeah, wow, there you go. Jeez, maze. Perry says, thanks for the JPX Forge comparison. It was your review of the 435 wood that got me to go for a fit-in for mine. Top work. Thank you, Perry. That's fine. That's exactly why I do what I do. So people, I don't care what you go by. Don't care. Just because I wear Mizuno, that is my choice. That's not yours. Everyone chooses to wear a certain item of clothing, whether people want their Callaway stuff or their Echo golf shoes or whatever it be, doesn't matter. My choice is my own choice. Your choice, as long as it works for you, brilliant. If I can do a review or if I can give you some snippets of information which will help you make the decision in a good way, I've got no commission based on it, and no different to when I used to fit full-time. No commission. I don't want any commission whatsoever. I don't want any form. I had a paid for session. All my sessions were paid for, never free. They were all paid for sessions, and I did not want anything to do with commission, because I don't want anyone to have any inkling that what decision they make, I am making money out of it. That's wrong, because what's to stop me, a human being, from thinking, well, if I get them into this manufacturer, there's a higher profit margin on this manufacturer, so I'll get more money that week. And so you have that kind of weird, no, I want to be unbiased. And I just want to be literally, yes, you fit into this, you fit into that, you fit into that. There's a bit of a tangible more benefit you have in this iron. Whatever that iron is a Mizuno OP or whatever, it doesn't really matter. There you go. That's how it should be done, I believe. Mr. Mumble, thank you very, very much. Just noticed you just popped a $10. Thank you. And it says thank you so much, but no, thank you as well. That is much, much appreciated. Thank you very much. Vishal says, Jay, wish you lived in the US. I would schedule a fitting with you instantaneously. That is a very, very fast scheduling. Maybe on my next trip to the UK, your knowledge is immeasurable. Well, I'm pretty certain I can measure it. It's within my ears. I suppose the length it takes to go everywhere before it gets to the other ear, and that's probably the immeasurable bit. But yeah, no, thank you. By all means, it would be lovely to see. I've had people from all over the world to come and see me over the years, and it's been ridiculous. As YouTube has grown, I've had people come from Austria, I've had people come from America, I've had people to come from like Europe and stuff like that, but I've never had one from like Australia. I've never had like ridiculous. But it's really nice. It's really nice when you get people across, especially when you have like an interaction with them online and stuff like that. And then yeah. But Vishal says, curious Jay, have you ever received the Fuji Courier Axiom shafts? Tried them? No, no. And I'm the worst person to try shafts. Actively, I say to manufacturers when they say, "Do you want a shaft of this?" Don't care. I'd possibly prefer something that's stiff or extra stiff, just because I prefer the feel of little, I don't like a lot of whip on the end, but that's a preference of feel, makes no difference. If I have one that's got a whippy end or not a whippy end, that sounds wrong, doesn't it? But if I do, if I have a ladies flex or an extra stiff flex, doesn't really matter, doesn't make no difference to me at all. Other people, it's a huge difference, but to me, and I've done the test, I don't know how many times now, yet people still don't, what do you want me to do? I've done it, I don't know how many times. To prove that what I'm saying, I'm not just fibbing. I've done it. Hey, done that. Some people you just can't. Yeah. Michael says, for sure, I think certain generations wanted or still want to understand the physics of golf, and specifically the club specs and all the technology. My boys, however, treat it like a car. They just put gas in and go. Just hit whatever. True. Yeah, a lot of the old school pros did exactly the same. They didn't really know much about their technology of their heads or anything else like that. And to be faced with talking about old school stuff, there wasn't much technology within their heads, so they didn't really have to think too much. But the specifications, etc., yes, I mean, a lot of them played standard this, standard that, because they didn't understand, or at least they're good enough to be able to, because let's face it, when it comes to top-end pros, when we're talking to scratch golfers, or even like low handicap, low single-figure handicaps, which always hit ball first, they very, very, very rarely hit the earth before the ball. So we're talking about strikes like the will either bang on or slightly low on the face, bang on, slightly low on the face. You fit lie through trajectory. People that interact with the ground, as in the vast amateur like lump of the mountain, that up here are like the tour pros, the elite amateurs, the teaching pros. Yeah, I'm up. Yeah, there's not. Well, down here is the massive part of golfers that play once a month, once a week if they're lucky, or something like that. Yeah, so they're hitting 100, or like if you break 100 all the time, effectively, as in like 99, 98, where if you commonly break 100, you're already better than 50% of the golfers out there. So you're already halfway up the mountain. You kind of get the idea. But when it comes to their trajectory, they're not worried about lie in itself, because obviously they're hitting the ball first. When we talk about amateurs who don't hit the ball first, they hit the floor first, that won't lie. It makes a huge difference, the consistency of how well they hit the golf ball, like ridiculously. So yeah, so when it comes to it, but we could go into a long conversation about that, which I'm happy to go into, but yeah, only if people want me to. Golf Addict says, check out the Grit Tower Bag, golf bag. A very unique golf bag and tons of storage. Gonna order one, I think. The Grit Tower Bag. Now that is worth a copy and a paste into a new window. What? It's a 33-inch wheeled equipment bag. Am I getting it wrong? Oh, are we talking? Is this a hockey thing? Are we talking hockey again? But no, it's a very golf bag and tons of storage. I can't say the Grit Tower Bag. I've literally just done tower bag, golf bag. Golf Tower. Oh, hang on. I have it. Holy moly, that is a massive bag. Look at the size of that mama. Yep. Sold out, apparently. Let's have a look at the black and white. No, all sold out. There you go. Can't order one yet, not unless you found another website that will do it. There you go. Unfortunately, sold out. That's a shame. It's a massive bag. Dear God. Right. Michael says, but as handicaps go down, it changes and we get more micro. So there is definitely a place for your content. My middle has started seeing this. Yeah, I mean, again, I suppose I know that with the stuff that I do, I unfortunately, it's going to take me a while to grow to the level of where the YouTube itself becomes. I want to say profitable. It's not that. I mean, okay, everyone's got to pay bills and stuff like that. Absolutely. And sometimes it is difficult not to want to just do something on the basis of just trying to do what everyone else does, because obviously there is lots of money in YouTube. But then this moral side of me just stops me from doing it. But there you go. What we're going to do here, next one on there. Vishal says, Michael, I agree with you. My 9-year-old plays golf. He was 5 when he started. He watches the channel. He watches this channel. That's interesting. So does he watch it from yours? Because obviously I've got analytics, and so I see the age ranges as long as people have obviously logged in to a YouTube channel or their own channel as such, or their dad's channel, or whatever it be. A visual says, what would be hilarious if Alex Etches was fit by Jay, analytical versus speed. Alex, I love Alex, he's funny. He is a funny boy. When it comes to Alex, now I have fit many people which are fast, as in 130 mile an hour head speeds, 120 mile an hour head speeds, fast, and they're no real different. you've got to understand that they're going to be more offline. That absolutely. I've never met anyone who's 120 miles an hour or more and doesn't have distinctive dispersion, distance-related dispersion, so the dispersion wedge. So if you're going to go 5 degrees offline and you're 100 yards, that's how far you drive. Well, there are people that drive nearly that, I mean, but let's pick on 100 yards, you're that far off. If you then double that to 200 yards, you're going to be that far off. At 300 yards, you're going to be that far off, and you kind of get, so you get the wedge, distance wedge dispersion. That's normal. You cannot help that. So yeah, it will be interesting, but you have to accept there's going to be, and you have to work with patterns. You're always at that speed, you're going to have a miss, and if you ever miss at that speed, it's like off the planet miss, but let's work on your patterns, most important. Vishal, he is from Australia, yes. He's actually English, but he went to Australia about 7 years ago, I think. He does very much so, he's entertainment. He's funny. I like to watch him because he's funny, but he is on the bracket of entertainment, what I would call entertainment, where it's like TXG, they try and make it as entertaining as they can do, because they've got multiple people. I am one-man band when you look at this. As you've got me, I produce everything. I do, obviously, I've got no one holding the camera, everything is static. That's why I have to move cameras from time to time, because if not, it can be a bit boring if I was just to have it on one static camera. Obviously, he has a production team. The bigger you get, the bigger your production team. Finchy has got a production team. Rick has got a production team. Mark, to a certain extent, has got a production team. So is Coach, well, they kind of into do things themselves, but yeah, it's, there you go. Golf, I like the whippy end, that's what she said. Yeah. Golf, no golf, that's what she said. Vishal says, what he does, we watch together. Oh yeah, he does, we watch together, good. My son, I meant, we watch every single of your videos together. Well, that's very, very nice and kind. So I suppose that's why I am, well, I don't swear. I do swear, but I don't swear on camera. It's not because I have this thing that everyone enjoys YouTube content, and I don't like, I've got a 10-year-old going on 14 sometimes, and yeah, he has a VR headset and he loves going on VR. And of course I can watch it and what he's doing, and I can also hear what other people are saying, and I don't like it. I make him take it off. I make him take it off if I hear swearing, so it's not right, because adults that are on games with children, they shouldn't do that. Again, kids, they're already under pressure to grow up, and they're under pressure to grow up when they hear this language, they hear what's going on, and they've got no comprehension of the actual meaning behind everything, and they can get themselves in trouble if they're not careful. So yeah, I'm not a great fan of it in the realm of this, because obviously it's watched by all age ranges. So Sean says, I did hit a chippy 6 to 10 feet and hold the birdie. Nice, lovely. You mentioned TXG and they have a great site. What's worrying to me is all the club fitters are going out of business, loft and lies adjusted. What worried about me is all the club fitters are going out of business, loft and lies adjusted. What do you mean exactly, Sean? That's an interesting, why are they going out of business? As in, expand on what you were thinking there. Cody, hello Cody, hope you're well. Do you have any familiarity with the old restriction Z745s? Yes, I do. If so, would you compare them to the MP20 MMC? I unfortunately haven't got the 745. I did 545, 745 and 945, I think was the last Strixons I had access to really to test. And right, Strixons. Now, I have no experience of the new Strixon stuff, I'll be honest, but the old style Strixons, the Z745, the 945, and even like the 545, but they were always known, and this is true, I won't beat around the bush when it comes to saying it, because it's true. Has it changed? I don't know, but they were always known as the poor man's Mizuno. Why? Because they were forged, they felt really, really, be right back, Official says. Cool, no worries. But Strixon were always forged, always felt lovely. They really did feel nice. They were very, very good. And they were always slightly cheaper. They were always at a lesser price point than, say, a Mizuno, which they were looking to compete against. Now, that is unfair, because when it comes to it, they were, within reason, feel-wise every bit as good, performance-wise, basically nearly every bit as good. Not quite, but I mean, yeah, it's very, but the price range was cheaper, but it was a Shrixon, not a Mizuno. So for the brand monkeys out there, obviously there's a certain level of what people like to have, Porsche or whatever it be. And again, I suppose when you've got a limit of 70 miles an hour on a motorway to go to, it doesn't matter if you've got a Porsche or any form of car, it will still, within reason, do 70 miles an hour. So it's about as much as, but I mean, obviously, yeah, you don't get custom fit for your car, I guess, do you? So that would be an interesting one. It's expensive, well, expensive enough as it is. So, excuse me, YouTube drink time. That's the problem when I talk all the time. Right, shall I go back to hitting some shots? As we're fully testing out if the computer can process the simulator software and then also the streaming software in one go. I'm surprised it's doing it. Normally it cries a lot when I do this, but right. Have we got another one? Oh, no, cool, right. Now, if everyone's, I'm gonna go flick back over. Now this will be another interesting one. Oh, dear me. Cody says, I have a set of, here's me, see? No, you can see my butt cheeks, there we go. I'll go over there and I'll read it. You want to be looking at my butt cheeks. That's probably the worst sight. Let's walk over here so you can actually, I can read. Cody says, hang on, go over here. I have a set of Z745s with X100 and a set of MP 20 MMC with Project X 5.5 with a spring speed of 105 to 110 driver, and trying to decide which fit is better. Wow, that's a big difference to a fit. I won't lie, that is a very big difference to a fit. X100 and 5.5, were they LZs or IOs? Oh, Project X 5.5. Okay, so Project X 5.5, that's not that much difference. There is a difference, yes there is, but there's not that much difference. There's not a huge amount of difference. There's probably a bit too much difference with this. I might have to go down to that one. It's all right. I'm just messing around, just trying to hit, because I know I'm gonna be swinging slower because I've just sat down for a little while. So I've now changed, I've got an old JPX 921 forged. So obviously this is slightly stronger loft than the 34-degree Tour that I was literally just using. And I finished going about 100 and whatever it is, 156 yards carry, not the greatest of, it was slightly towy. I was trying to get my lie different last time, so it wasn't quite as long as normal. So, but as I've calmed down swing speed, oh, get my bones again. Oh, dear me. So I'm not going to hit this as far. So this is the equivalent of me taking more club, like everyone should do. Going up another club. Oh, 87.9. There you go. So when I'm fully warmed up, this golf club is way too much. It will go over the green. But until I warm up, 87.93. Yeah, I need to take more golf club. But yeah, absolutely fine. Still went where I wanted it to go, give or take. Oh, that's left. Felt that one. That's a really lovely toe shot. There you go. As I warm up, I suffer with speed and I suffer with strike. My delivery doesn't really move too much, 0.3, 0.1. There's not that much difference to it. As you can see, obviously you can see it down the bottom there. Yeah, you know, whatever. My delivery is fine, it's just strike and speed that suffers until I warm up. There you go, there's another strike of nasty. 89.5, that's in the bunker. Oh. And then, what am I now? 89.5. So as soon as I start getting to 90 miles an hour plus, I'll be okay. Clean. Fairly good, but clean, as in just low on the face. 89.7. Oh, you see, if I went back now to a tour, I wouldn't get anywhere near. As soon as I start swinging this 92 miles an hour, I'll be going near enough over the green. I tried to, a little bit, the new swing there, a little bit higher on the hands, the feeling. Lost strike straight away. Fairly straight though. What was my delivery? Yeah, 0 club path, face 0.8. Just high hands time, I think. Oh, that's so toey. That feeling of my hands being where they are, it feels like it's so high. It's probably not. You're looking at it on camera then, it probably doesn't actually look anything different to what it does normally. But to me, having my hands here just feels like I've got my hands up here. It may not even actually 17 mil toe. Wow. But that's feeling of me trying to have my hands higher. I can see strike just goes out the window. I mean, it's fair, I mean, it's hitting target. But it's just, I can't control, I need to practice, obviously, yeah, 10 mil low through, I'm all over the place when it comes to strike. I'm hitting target, let's go back to normal. So that's my normal. But as you can see, now I'm starting to think I've got to go back to the tour, because as I'm warming up, what was that? 91.3, yeah, I'm starting to warm up now, 91.3 miles an hour. Strike, just slightly toey, 5.7 mil toe, but it's now going too far. So if I was to now try and physically hit more target, I don't want to go over the green on this one, definitely not. Short is better, because you'll be having a slight uphill putt. So going back to the tour is the better idea. Oh, that's fraction open. Go on, nip a bit. Oh, so even that. That's the fastest swing, it's like 91.34. Yeah, let's see, face was fractionally open, but good strike. 0.7 low, 0.8 heels, just good strike. It was just a touch open faced. .5, yeah, I'm starting to warm up now. But you can still even see this. I've set the greens, what was the green? 165 yards. What's it, 172? So I'm definitely, what am I hitting here? That's the forge. Where's the other one? That's the reason why it's going too far. Wrong golf club. I did that, I'll tell you what, a little story on that one. I made a mistake on that. I went onto a par 3 where I used a 9-iron. I didn't look properly, took a 6-iron out instead and airmailed the green. That was funny. Right, tour. Slightly high on the face. Toey, but slightly high. There you go, there's a distance. It's amazing what happens when you get the right golf club. Instantly. Yeah, still slightly high, slightly toey. That's not plumb on either. Slightly low on the face. 0, like laterally, just low. What, 8 mil low, 9 mil low? 9.6 mil low. So yeah, I could feel 0 laterally. That's the great thing about having a club like this with copper, is that you can call strike to the millimeter, because it is, you get that much feedback from it. Last one. Oh my word. So that's going to be short, as you can see, but straight because of the strike. Wowzers. That's the way if you're going to miss low. Last one, here's one, last one. Much better hit. Much better hit. Right. Oh. Flip back over. Right. let's catch up. Right, so Project X LZ 5.5 Cody says, back to the question about the Z745s with an X100, excuse me, and a MP20 MMC set with a Project X LZ 5.5. Now those are hugely different shaft types, and I would be, that is either a very poor fit one way or the other, or two very poor fits, because they are very, very different. The X100 and the LZ 5.5 is massively different. Yeah, so I'd want to get refit on that one. Was it with the DNA? When you done the MP20 MMC, was it with the swing DNA? That's what I'd want to know. Sean says, in my area I had loads of pros that had a bending tool. Now it's crazy, you have to travel and they don't know what they are doing. I used to know 3 people in the area, now there's none. Right, okay, so that's that club fitters thing. Now, obviously, I have my own view on this, and my view is this. I personally don't like places which bend golf clubs. Why don't I like it? It's because most golf clubs will bend around a little bit. When I talk about forged, definitely. When you talk about cast golf clubs, not many cast golf clubs will want to bend. They might bend a degree, some might bend a bit more. Pings will bend massively because of that relief channel that you've got. When it comes though to, if you send your golf clubs back to Ping, let's pick on Ping, yeah? Or Mizuno, or whoever, it doesn't matter. But if you are going to send your golf clubs to get, they'll do it. If they break your golf club because they've bent it and there's a defect in the head or anything else like that, and it goes tink and it breaks, cast golf clubs will go tink and they'll literally go dunk like that and break it. They'll replace it. Or if they can't replace it because they haven't got that set anymore, they'll give you a new set because they have to. If you're going to go to a guy with a bending bar, a pro with a bending bar, it doesn't matter, the conversation you're going to have is, he's going to go to you and say, Brian, it's a funny situation. Well, it's not funny at all, actually. It's not my fault. I've done hundreds, if not thousands of these golf clubs, and it never happened. I've never, ever had it happen once. However, your 8 irons broke, and it must have been a manufacturing fault. Absolutely, must have been a manufacturing defect, because I've never had this happen before, ever. So what we're going to do, I'll have a chat with Ping or whoever and see what we can do. Ping or whoever will turn around and say, nothing to do with us. If you wanted it bent, you should have brought it back to us. And if it broke with us, then obviously, yes, we'd have done it. But we can't guarantee your work, and we can't guarantee that you did what you did was right. So tough, quite rightly. And so the argument's happening backwards and forth as to what's going on, who's responsible for this. And meanwhile, you still have not got an 8 iron. And you're in a position of where you've got some golf clubs are bent, some golf clubs aren't bent. You've got no 8 iron. You're not, hopefully you haven't paid any money yet. You're not down any money, but if you have, you're down some money already. And it gets really complicated, and it gets really like, now, does that happen every day? No, it doesn't. Does it happen? Yes, it does. And I have always advocated sending anyone's golf clubs back to the manufacturer, because it may be fractions more expensive, in some cases cheaper, but you have that guarantee. You have the guarantee of that company that manufactures those golf clubs day in, day out, doing the work themselves. They know how to do it. I'm not saying the pros don't know how to do it, or anyone in the shops that are with bender bars. I'm not saying that at all, but it's just the risk factor. And take the risk out, send them back to manufacturers, job done. That's my view on it. Michael says, I know it's simple economics, but your thought on the good Mizuno deal and Grant, as well as their move to Callaway and TaylorMade. I want to see the cool Mizuno clubs in the use. Now, okay, now I'm not going to be able to say too much. It's all right. Go away. Okay, just got my watch, that's the problem. When you're talking about a smartwatch, it just, yeah. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to give too much away when it comes to the backstory when it comes to this, because it's not my place to, I'll be honest. I've just got John's things. What are your thoughts on the Mizuno putts? In a minute. I'll get that one. It's a good question. So they were obviously contracted to Mizuno, and there is a contract whenever a new person's contracted to, right? There'll be certain get out clauses like there is everything else, but effectively you'll have a certain lifespan of that contract. Now, obviously you'd expect and hope that once the end of a contract or comes close to, you'd have a little chat, see if you renegotiate certain parts depending on which side has either grown or not. If the brand has grown further than the content creator, then obviously there's no different if the content creator's grown more than the brand. There's another negotiation and stuff like that. Now, there is this other negotiation where you have a, rightly or wrongly, you have a brand in Mizuno who are a brand which does not believe in spending a lot of money on marketing areas where other companies are. TaylorMade and Callaway example. TaylorMade and Callaway will happily just blow money left, right and centre. And does it work? Yes, it does. Mizuno won't do it. Now, they can, no different to me, I turn around and say, I will not make content just for clicks, because all it does is it just makes me no different to everybody else. And I get that, yes I do. But when it comes to a brand like Mizuno, no different to anyone else. I mean, obviously, everyone knows what they're like when it comes to irons. Everyone should, by now, understand what they're like on their woods. They are every bit as good as anybody else out there. Are they better than anybody else? No. No one's better. Okay, the top premium brands now are as good as you can get until the rules either get relaxed or magic dust gets released. Within reason, they are at the top. Now, everyone is at the top. And Mizuno are there with them. It's just their marketing isn't very good. I'll be honest, their marketing isn't very good. Why? Because Mizuno are constricted by the money that they've got to spend. Yeah? They could very well, if they wanted to, just throw multiple millions at it and get themselves to the level of Callaway and TaylorMade, etc., by just throwing money at it. But they have this pesky thing called morals, or their ethos in their head of exactly how they want to do certain things, and they in essence have restricted themselves, in my view, to becoming one of the very, very, very big few. They are already where they are in their irons because of the nature of the product, because it's outstanding in a certain area. When it comes to their woods, no one can be outstanding unless you want to market it in a way that it is, but it isn't. Like TaylorMade have a red face, and you can customize it to your delight in different colors should you wish. Paradigm have the name Paradigm, Paradigm Shift, and then also the funny camouflage colors, and they've always never shone away from being out there and stuff like that. It's a marketing decision on a brand globally. I know individuals would like to change certain aspects, but obviously one individual can't change a company's decision making. So you have to work with what you have to work with. But Mizuno could very well be, well, if they were to change the way they did things. But right, so that's when it comes to grant and stuff. They would basically just offered more money and decided to hop, jump and skip to somewhere where there was offering them more money. And depending on what Garrett and Grant and everyone's who's going to be involved in that, however long they believe their journey to be when it comes to YouTube or whatever they decide they're going to do as a job, if they have a perception of all good things come to an end, yeah? So if they know, because they're obviously, when it comes to the kids, well, they're getting older, and there comes a point of where you are not related to the kids anymore because you're getting older. So then your market goes. So it depends on how they're going to do things going forward, and if they've decided that they want to concentrate on the money now, get the money now, so then I don't know, but they got offered more money. There you go. Cody was curious on your take, since I know you aren't shaft dependent. No. For instance, next 100 to an old Ping CFS regular flex, how would it affect your ability to center your strike? Me? None. Anyone else? Massively. Yeah. Wobin, I see some pros playing 45 or 46 degree wedges instead of a pitching wedge. Would that be for a reason? Yeah, basically. When it comes to pros and their requirements and the decisions of what they want, it's based on the distance that they need to hit it. They don't really care. Like Lee Westwood is a perfect example. Every single time he has a new set of irons, doesn't matter what, if it's I200s, I210s, I230s, doesn't matter. He doesn't care what's in the head. He just says, I don't care this, I don't care that. It's just a case of that 7 iron's got to go 168 yards. There you go. I don't care what, no, just bend it so it goes 168. So manufacturers which push every single year for longer this, faster that, or whatever it be, when you put it into a pro's hands, a touring pro like Lee Westwood, for example, he doesn't care. He just needs it to go 168 yards, or whatever the number that he wants it to go. So 45, 46 degree pitching wedge, gap wedge, sand wedge, lob wedge, so you can run it all the way to 60 degrees anyway. So that's not too much of a problem. John, what is your thoughts on Mizuno putters? They now offer a load in their range, the Omois, which I haven't actually tested. All right, things falling off. I've put them shoes back up. Oh, I was going to show you shoes as well. New shoes, Mizuno. I just want to get everyone's idea on what they think, what they like. Do they think they work? Do they think they not work at all? I'll put them there for people to have a little look at. But yeah, I need to mess around with the Omois. Heavy heads, but they make a putter now basically to fit anyone. There's so many putters that Mizuno do, high-end putters, that again, go get fit, have a lesson and a fit at the same time. See if you can work your stroke better, and then also obviously marry that with a whatever, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 M craft, 6 M craft, Omois and all this lot, to make sure you get the right tool that works best for you. Golf Addict says, another awesome session, Jay, well done. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. Absolutely, always, as always. But these sessions wouldn't be anything without you guys. So via the other way around, I'd say well done to you. So without your involvement, I would be sitting here, just talking to myself. So I'm glad that these sessions that I do, that I can give back and help people, because I don't always have the time to reply to every single comment that people do. That's why I was thinking about doing memberships, but I still haven't sorted that out yet, because again, really been busy. But there you go. You don't need to know about my life outside YouTube. Bores everybody. Sam says, only wedges, Jay. The risk factor with wedges rather than OEMs is the +2 difference. When I bought Mizuno clubs, I got them checked. I'm glad I did. They were out. I've heard a few times now the -2, -2 minus plus, whatever difference. Yeah. Anyway, yes, I've known. So obviously, people that are inconsistent, amateur golfers, if they got a golf club which is a degree out, 2 degrees out, sometimes they wouldn't even know. And this is not an excuse for saying it's right and wrong. I'm not saying it at all, right? No. What you'll find is that most people will, when they start getting lower on their handicap, and they start becoming more consistent with their strike and their expectations of what, especially their wedges, because obviously closer to the work and more loft and stuff like that, so you're hitting target a little bit more consistently. You get an understanding of what the gappings are, then you pick it up in a gap test, you think, why are they out slightly? And it is true, from time to time, you do get slight inconsistencies in delivered lofts. Delivered lofts from the manufacturer, I would say, not delivered lofts from what you deliver. That's true, you do get inconsistencies from you because you're a human being, but if you then go measure them, then you see that, hang on a minute, why are they out? And there is cases from time to time that you do hear of certain ones which are out. Now, it is frustrating to a certain extent, I'll be honest, it is. all manufacturers need to make sure they do a much better job to ensure quality control, especially when you're talking about these golf clubs aren't worth £3.50. They're worth sometimes £1,350, but yeah, that's my own personal belief on that one. Golf Tower Cart Bag, that's the actual name made by Grit. They are famous for hockey bags, great shelving system in a golf bag, great storage. Play through YouTuber shows it in what's in the bag. Golf Out said, let's play through, it's the YouTuber, yeah. Claire, hello Claire, hope you're well. Are Mizuno releasing new irons later this year? Now. Right. Through fear of, not fear, wrong word, but through the, there's no point irritating people. Right. So I am now not going to say what I know. I am now going to say what I have heard. I've heard two differing opinions. One opinion is this: September, October they will release. The second opinion is this: it's February next year. Before I found out what's going on, of which I can't say because I'm not sure I'm allowed to say it or not, and the whole idea of anyone, let's be honest, that when it comes to a physical golf club that I can test within embargo, I can say what I want because it's going to be released on embargo and it's open to the world. These kind of decisions that obviously they haven't made yet from a point of view of release to the public, it is not down to me to be a WikiLeaks and leak stuff which like that. But it will either be in September or October. Obviously there is a potential definitely for it to be February. This is dependent on availability of equipment when it comes to physical heads themselves because of manufacturing. Now remember, I don't know if anyone has seen the TikTok that Mizuno done of the forging facility in Japan, and you've got this guy which has got his hands which are that far away from a 2-ton press whacking these golf clubs to make them, and that goes as fast as it goes. You can't just tell the guy work a bit faster because obviously then he might not have any fingers, but he can't work any faster. If you've seen it, it's like bang, 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 the new billet, bang, 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 the new billet, bang, bang, and that's what it is. So they're going as far as the only thing they could actually do physically is put another machine in. Well, obviously you can't just do that. You haven't got space just to literally just shove over a few things and put a new machine in. So it's more complicated than that. So it will come down to availability of heads, whether it be September, October. It will also come down to availability of components, and components are still being a bit of a pain. Availability is so much better now than it ever was, absolutely. And because remember, Mizuno, for picking on Mizuno, Mizuno do offer, every single shaft they offer is an aftermarket shaft. It is none of their own shafts they make. So like Ping make a lot of their own shafts, so that's why they can process stuff quite quickly, because they're in control, absolutely, of what is produced, as in made for them. And obviously they do aftermarket shafts, but they do make a lot of their own shafts, like CFSs, etc. Example of that is AWTs and stuff like that. But you know, kind of Alters, CBs, all the lot, they're making their own shafts. When it comes to Mizuno, say every single one of them is aftermarket, so they're on the lap of the gods when it comes to the dynamic gold, etc., or true temper, to say, look, give me this, give me that, give me that, and they're like, no, you have to wait. That's a handful, thank you very much. So yeah, it's either going to be September, October, or it might be February. A Special K, Kieran, I've got Omoy 3 blacked out with the weight kit. If you want to have a go, why not? Well, is it like a 39-inch putter though, Kieran? Because you're a bit taller than me. Just grip down a bit. I do like the heavy-weighted ones. I do like the heavier ones. GolfNut, new shoes. Oh, you have my attention. Yes, sorry, we got back to the shoes. Right, so new shoes. You give me your impressions on these. Well, if I can get my camera to focus on properly. There you go. I'm probably the worst model when it comes to trying to model these properly. As you can see, they are BOA, and they have these weird, wonderful, very grippy, like ridiculously grippy these things are, for what's it called, shoes, obviously, for technically summer shoes, but yeah, they've got the boa. Yep, so that's the normal. I think that's the normal one. They do the WGT ZH4 GTX, whatever they are called. Basically looks exactly the same because I got them the same color. Just to show, right? It's got that, and I think that's Gore-Tex topper. Top upper sole to it and stuff like that. So basically it breathes and it's waterproof. I think this has got a 2-year warranty, where the other ones, I think they're slightly cheaper and they've only got a 1-year warranty. But again, these are summer shoes. Again, you've got the same things on the bottom. These are ridiculously grippy though. They really, really are. And then, yeah. I use, again, I was a classic shoe, as in spiked, proper spiked wearer for a long while, and then it took me a little while to go back over to something like this, and we'll go to something like this. And now it's really difficult to get out. These are so comfy, they really, really are. But in the winter time, I'll go back to a proper spiked. Absolutely, that's for sure. So, what we go. So, Vishal says, back. Jay, after about how many rounds you suppose the average golfer should check loft and lie? Last year played 80 rounds of golf, and I've heard that loft, and I joke, oh yeah, so it's different for one manufacturer because different manufacturers' golf clubs bend differently because of the metal that they use effectively. So pings you can leave for a little bit longer because they're made out of iron that, I don't know, the pearly gates are made from, because they are that tough. So they take a little bit of beatings, I must admit, but then you go over softer forging, even pings, blueprints, they will bend. And the Mizuno being a softer forging, that will bend. And so you have to, it's more not so how many rounds you play, it's how much you practice and how much mat usage that you hit and what kind of mat that you hit off, how you hit the mat, and how you interact with the ground in general. So different people will have different requirements for the need for loft and lie checks depending on how aggressive they are hitting the ground and what angles they are. If they are fit for zero lie, or if they're fit for toe down or toe up, it will have an impact. Siltgo says, hi Jay, I stumbled upon your channel recently. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much for joining. It's nice to have you here. When do you reckon it's time to get fit? I feel like my game is coming together with my first set. Stock Nippon are JPX 91 Hot Metals. Right, so this is the fun thing for everyone, right? So let's go ask this question from, so we won't ask the question from everyone because it would take too long to do it. But, right. The age-old thing of this, I'm going to get better first, I'm going to get a bit more consistent, and then I'll get custom fit. Now, when I used to say this, and I answered this question, say last year, when I was basically fitting and coaching full-time and doing a bit of YouTube on the side kind of thing like that, yeah, before I decided to concentrate much more on this and take a step back from doing coaching and fitting and concentrate on YouTube and all this lot. I used to say this, and people would used to give the response of, when I used to say it, they say, yeah, you would say that because you're making money from fitting. Well, yes, I make money from the sessions. I don't make money, or didn't make money from any kind of commission based, because I don't believe in it. It's wrong. But yeah, right. Now I can say this, and I'll say the exact same thing. Makes no difference because people need to know I'm honest, and it's this. Actually, the worse you are, the more important it is for you to get custom fit. Everyone now is going to go, what? That's not right. Yes, it is. Now, the reason why it's right is because of this. Now, if you go to a reputable place, that's a tricky one. But if you go to a place which is it's going to look at your swing, going to look at the equipment you've got, look at you, look at how you interact with everything, they should be able to do, if you're really bad, one, they're going to let you know what you do wrong, to let you know what you need to do right. And especially if obviously you've got an individual who's getting custom fit, you can always tell they're not going to go spend £1,000 on a set of irons if they're not invested in getting better. If not, they'd be continuing with the pile of rubbish golf clubs they've already got, because they don't, yeah. So anyone who comes to a custom fit and is going to spend £1,000 at least on a set of irons is obviously invested into it, so they want to get better. So I've always did this when it comes to custom fitting. Custom fitting is a lesson as well. If a 28 handicapper come in, I would look at their swing and look at what their golf clubs are at the moment, look at what their fit would be at the moment, and then look also the fit, what it would be later on. As in a case of, they will, it's your YouTube snozzer, they will change their swing when they have lessons, which will change the requirements of what they need. So what I do is within a lesson, a fit, is especially if they're coming over the top, face open, high handle and all this like, I very, very quickly, because I love doing it, I very, very quickly put them into a position within 5 minutes of changing their swing to be much, much more consistent. I won't say consistent, sorry, wrong word. They're much, much more efficient, much, much more potential for them to get much better. They just need to practice it. Now they've learned the new move, they need to practice it. Doesn't take long, yeah? But that also then changes the requirements of their custom fit. So I would say to them, look, you can continue to play in what you do at the moment and I'll have to fit you like this. However, if you want to start hitting shots like that and hitting more consistent shots like that, you're going to need different equipment like this. But then if you buy new equipment that's fitted this way and you've got no interest in actually changing to be like this and you want to go back to how you were, these aren't going to be the right things. So you have to then understand, and of course then straight away you've captured their imagination with what they're capable of doing in a very, very short space of time. You fit them for the golf clubs, which then basically make that swing much more advantage to do. And so not only are they getting better, but their clubs are much, much more suited to what they need to be anyway. They're winning all over. And so that just makes them more wanting to get out there, practice more and do it even more, and they get better really quickly. So the answer to the question really is, actually, the worse you are, the far, far more important it is for you to get properly fitted at a proper place with a person who just doesn't want to sell the living daylights out of their whole entire shop to you. It's more about you and what fits and what's needed to be changed in you with the equipment that you need to get, more than just emptying your wallet with all the money that it's got to try and, yeah, there you go. Right. And then so it'll say Siltico, but my speed is increasing rapidly. Yes. So when it comes to that, very, very quickly, I would do a bend profile test with you and see where you're generating speed and see where you're going to go so that you're increasing speed. And we see your bend profile. Your bend profile won't change. Your just grade will go up a little bit. So effectively, I would be fitting you on the for a shaft which is stiffer, more sturdy within its bend profile. So it'll enable you to grow into it. So it'll still work now, but as you grow, it actually gets better and better. That's the kind of idea. Two-way conversation there anyway. Claire says, take that as a yes. Put it this way, okay, right, you can make your own determination from this when it comes to Mizuno releasing something this year, right? If you look at their lead times at the moment, they're busy. They are really, really, really busy. Whenever you've got a situation of they're really, really busy because they're popular, they're doing well. Mizuno with the JPX 923 are doing really well. And so effectively, if you then add a Mizuno Pro launch to that, I'll leave that up to you to decide whatever you think is going to happen. It could go either way. As it goes, my gapping's all over the place right now. It will be until you sort of just swing out a little bit. It will be. You'll have patterns, but your patterns will be spread, will be bigger. So Kieran says 35, mate. 35. I'm lost. That's probably an answer to a question I've already said, but I can't remember what the question was. So. Yeah, I've done it before. I do all the time. I prattle on and forgot what I said. Boa, yes. 35 inches, yes, 35-inch shaft. It's a bit of a long one, but it should be fine. I'll grip down a little bit. But Boa, yeah, I'm a great fan of Boa. Really, yeah. I'm getting lazy. If I could go back, see, when you're like a child, when you're like a toddler, you have Velcro shoes. They're brilliant. Then you have to learn to do your laces up, and you go through life having laces. Now I'm at my age that I am, I actually quite enjoy Boa. The fact that I just pop, twizzle, 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 job done. And then even that, I don't wear laces anymore. I just don't wear laces anymore. Just so old-fashioned. Are they wide fit? Right, okay. Are they wide fit? No, as in a case of do they specifically come like wide boy? No, they're not. But I have got quite a wide foot. And so generally when it comes to golf shoes, I have to be mindful of what I wear because they do hurt if I don't obviously get the right fit. So Mizuno are wide enough for my wide wide-ish foot. Now, if you've got feet which looks like something out of Star Trek, then yeah, you're going to need a wide fitting. And obviously FootJoy do a really good wide fitting, and other manufacturers as well do have options of wide fit. Mizuno, as a general rule, are fairly wide in their fit. If not, I wouldn't be able to use them and wear them all the time, because obviously I have, well, obviously you don't know, but I have got slightly, I've got feet on the wider side of normal. I just don't like falling over much. So my DNA decided that I was going to have wide feet and big feet as well. Bowie, yes, look, shoes look really nice. They are. They're like, I mean, again, they're quite classy and white and stuff like that. They also do different colours and blah, blah, blah. I actually quite like these ones because I like the aerated bits all around. And of course, yeah, I do like the boa idea as always. And I mean, different colours and yeah, they're shoes. So, right. I like the second one most. Yes, I do as well. The GTX, it is the most expensive one though. Epon stroke Endo Visual says, Epon, what say 25 rounds if you're using lots, if Matt's practice, AF 505 irons are quite soft. I'd get them changed. I'd get them checked every 6 months. Oh, that's what I would do. Perry. Perry Mason says, regarding shoes, that's my birthday sorted out later by the boss, aka the wife. Yep. That's easy, nice and easy one down. Visual says, Jay, agree with you on the fitting comments. I've been playing for 4 years, handicap down to 14.6, and in the way down this year already. Good, well done. I'm glad everyone is joining it, and 14.6 is a good handicap. It really is. GolfNut says, I must have missed it when you said what brand those shoes you showed. What brand are they? Well, they're Mizuno ones. Normally, it's interesting to see Mizuno, generally speaking, what they do is they're quite bold in when they say, I mean, without off moving my things now. Yeah, oh, that way. You see, big old Mizuno on there. But generally speaking, Mizuno aren't frightened. I've got to put my thing back into the same spot now. If not, I'll be out of focus. Well, if it's right or wrong to matter. But yeah, they're normally quite sort of bold and brash, but they've kind of drummed away a little bit from having huge Mizuno signs whacked all over them. So, but yeah, they're Mizuno ones, and they're, yeah, quite groovy. Got a weird bottom to them as well, like shiny. Well, if I get the camera, yeah, there you go, shiny-ish bottom to them. There you go. Interesting, but good. Visual says Mizuno, fully agreed. At my first fitting, fitter said stop, go get lessons, and I did. Wow, that's a good one. Not many people do that. Good though. Kudos to him, well done. Or her. Him or her, yep. Cody says, sorry to go back, but how would you compare forgiveness on the Z745 to the MP20 MMC purely from memory? Where do you hit it? If you hit it off a toe, MMC is better. If you hit it off of the heel, then I would say Z745 is obviously out the middle, is fairly good, both of them. But yeah, Silco says, thanks a lot, still got lots of time to improve this year. Yes, you have, the season's just started, really. Richard Russell, 98, regarding shoes, any decent waterproof spiked golf models? Oh, sorry, well, any decent waterproof spiked models? I've got to try and think. See, I'm not a great fan of spiked at the moment. Like, wrong time of year, but I have to go on say when it comes to FootJoys, when it comes to just normal shoes. FootJoys you are not going to go too far wrong with. Mizuno do their own. Echo. There's so many good golf shoes out there. Again, I go back to these ones. So let's just sort of like very quickly. Can I get that one? Yeah, I'll get that. I'll get this one out of the way. Oh, that one fell off, did it? Oh, well, I'll sort that one out. Right, I go back to these ones from many years ago, right? Because these were arguably possibly the best golf shoes that Mizuno ever made. Those. The Gen M's. The original Gen M's. The original Robocop shoes. Look at that, kid. Wow. I mean, that you use to walk on the moon. They are built like, I mean, you could club someone to death with one of these things. These are like properly, yeah. Heavy though, they are heavy, but these things last, I'm pretty certain there's iron ore on this world which won't last as long as this shoe. Not the greatest cost-effective solution for Mizuno to do, obviously, because obviously golf shoes last for, well, generations. They put under so much punishment, they really, and they're very, very good. They're actually my favourite golf shoes of all time, really, when it comes to Mizuno. The amount of money that these cost are, I mean, I think they were £180 to buy at the time, but they were, I can remember when these came out, the margins weren't great on these, I must admit, for shops to sell. And because they just cost so much to make. No different to Mizuno made many, many moons ago. They made, they were the company that does waterproofs, and the waterproofs were ridiculously expensive. I'm talking ridiculously expensive, but they were ridiculously good, like crazy good quality. Didn't sell much whatsoever because they were so expensive, but yeah, there you go. Right, so John says, Jay, love your content. I've just been fit for JPX 923 irons. Good. My current wedges are in great shape. Is it worth getting the Mizuno wedges to have the same shaft and lie angles as the irons? So it depends when it comes to your shaft requirements. As a general rule, when it comes to an amateur, I would always, for consistency purposes, keep the same shaft in the wedges to the irons. Always do, for an amateur's point of view, for a fairly run-of-the-mill amateur. When you're talking about an individual which has much more focused requirements as their handicap comes right down, I would then gravitate to more of a conversation, a two-way requirements, what they want for feel-wise. And of course, then you change depending on what they want their feel. When it comes to the lie angles, etc., so it depends on how they utilize their wedges. If you were saying a gap wedge, for example, if they utilize their gap wedge as a full shot golf club, then I would run their lie angles very similar to what they do their pitching wedge. If it was a sand wedge, or we call it a sand wedge, whatever, doesn't matter what loft it is or what number you want to, name you want to call it, because I use, within reason, I use my 58 for everything, and that's a lob wedge, and I use that for a sand. So is the lob wedge a sand wedge as well? So what do we call the 54, 55, whatever it is? It's just a sandwich. We call it a sandwich. Doesn't mean you have to use it for a sandwich. So I run all my lie angles exactly the same all the way through, because I even have my 58, I use that full. When I say full, I'm not swinging that all out. The same speed or same tempo that I run with my pitching wedge, my 7-iron or my 8-iron, I also run with my gap wedge, my sand wedge and my lob wedge, because I need to know my distances with all of them. So I run all my lie angles because even though I don't offend the shaft, I still deflect because of my plane. We won't go into the of everything. I still have deflection of shaft through droop, and so I require a certain lie angle. That's normal with everything. But someone who doesn't then use their 58 full, they use it for all around the greens and stuff like that, they're not going to deflect the shaft as much, which means they're not going to need as upright lie and potentially get away with a much flatter lie. Also, there's so many different parts to that, but I would say as a general, if you're an amateur, definitely a high handicap amateur, consistent way through. Don't have, because if you feel differences and you don't understand what the differences are, that can play in your head. It's just better sometimes to absolutely keep everything just as consistent as possible, so you can keep that thing consistent and then work on you as the bit that's not being consistent. Right, what we got now? Silterco says, playing off 17, hoping to get lower and break 80 this year. Doable. Yeah, it's definitely doable, but we're tough, hard, got to be ambitious, definitely. Always always have a goal, absolutely. Niels, hello, he's back again, saying that shiny part at the bottom of the shoe look really stiff. I need really soft there. Are they stiff? I say, look, what are we talking about? The new ones? Or are we talking about these Gen M? These were old. So when I say old, these were like 2020, 2019, 2020. I think, hang on, bear with. Mizuno have a 2020, I think they are. Yeah. So with Mizuno, they have a naming convention within. There's a tag in there. You're not. There you go. There you go. You see that there's a tag in there, and there's a number. There's a naming convention that they use, which it gives you an understanding of what year and basically what part of the year as well. Spring, summer, autumn, winter. But that was 2020. That they come out. So we're talking, that's nearly 3 years old, these shoes. So again, I'm a bit sad when it comes to shoes. Yeah. So best shoes ever. But yeah, so no, these ones, now these obviously, they're not broken in. Yeah. So these are fairly robust. I'll be honest, they are fairly robust. They are fairly stiff. Now, when I've walked in these, they bend because I'll be honest, I weigh a bit more than what I can put force on. However, there is an issue because of the old shoes they used to have. One of the things that they said that was critiquing was the fact that you could twist the soles and they actually don't give any form of support to the golfer as they turn and twist. Obviously, we go as golfers, the feet go through a lot of torsion, lateral shifts and weight shifts and everything. So the shoes do have to really be stable. There were certain shoes in the past which just twist too much and they're bad for you. I mean, again, you need support in the right areas. Now, Niels, if you're saying that you need softness in certain areas, then possibly, yeah. These may not be for you. They do bend though. Yes, they do bend. I just can't apply enough force. Plus as well, obviously it's got all stuff down it. So yeah, but they do bend. GolfNut says, where do you order the shoes from? Just went to Mizuno's site and can't find any shoes, none at Golf Town either. Now, you're no, you're not America, are you? Where, GolfNut, where are you based? Is it UK? Are you based in UK? Or are we talking about, I always forget, sorry, I'm terrible. There we go. Richard Russell 98 says, have T20 wedges, but like opening up the 58, old school like. Any feedback on X-Grind? Have you looked at one and liked it? Well, X-Grind is a basically blooming nothing bounce-wise. It is an aggressive toe and heel relieved grind for uber short game specialists. Do I gravitate to one? No. I actually quite like a little bit more bounce and a little bit less relief than that. Also add, yeah, more, you know what I mean. The X grind is an aggressive grind. And if you're looking for something where you want to have maximum amount of variability and versatility within your wedges, then absolutely the X grind will work a treat, but you do have to know how to use them. This is the problem when it comes to grinds. People go for the old Tour Pro grind, which is like X grind, etc., and they don't know how to use it, and then effectively just make the worst decision ever. Generally speaking, a lot of amateurs could do better if they just got more bounce. There you go. That's going to be right for a lot of people, but wrong for a lot of people as well. So take that, what I've just said, with a pinch of salt. Haxie, hello. Hope you're well. Love your content, mate. Thank you very much. Recently fitted to the JPX Hot Metal High Launch and S23 wedges and have never felt more confident behind the ball. Can already see some improvement in my game. That's really, so okay. So the good news is with what Haxie here is basically saying is what I see or did see all the time is people that have got the bug, people want to go out and get custom fit. As long as they go out and get custom fit fairly well, this is the trick, they've got to be custom fit really well, is that they've now, and they get their equipment, they are absolutely buzzing and they want a bit, so, and they practice more because obviously it's brand new. It's like a kid at Christmas, it's brand new. And because it's brand new, they go out and practice loads and loads and loads, which effectively means they will improve through practice only. And of course, the custom fit golf clubs are custom fits. Obviously, they're going to be much more in line with what they had previously. The previous ones are probably quite poor when it comes to the custom fit, so these are working better straight away. They're more consistent, and so it's a win-win. And so, of course, yes, you generally get better straight away. Partially through golf clubs, absolutely, but partially because you got the kid at Christmas feeling, and then you practice more, and you're practicing now with equipment that is fitted, which makes a difference. So Silco says, I saw some on white Mizuno G-style shoes on Instagram. Have you played in these? Yes. So the G-style, these ones here. Dun, dun. G-style. As you can see, remember, Mizuno, generally speaking, have in the past not shied away from making a massive I am Mizuno. And I've played in these. Yeah, I've played in these. These are now, this is Niels, if you're still watching, right? Golf Out says Canada. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. Right. These, like that, see? These have got similar, slightly more, because obviously there's not so much stuff in there, but these are bendy. These are properly bendy. These are normal shoes, effectively, and I've used these, well, filming. I have used these actually out because these look quite nice when you're rocking a set of, well, smart cash clothing, because again, these can be used as normal going out shoes because they haven't got massive spikes and stuff on them. I'll put them down there. YouTube drink time, because I'm getting thirsty. I have got a spare in reserve. It's 10 o'clock already. Wow, got to think about that. And so yeah, the G-Styles you can use not just on the golf course, you can use them elsewhere as well because they're that kind of style. That's the whole idea. So Mizuno are making more, they're doing their normal kind of golf stuff, absolutely. I mean, you've got your golf shoes like this and yeah, like that, and then you've also got other ones, let's go without sort of boring everyone to pants off and trying to work out what we got here, there and everything else. What's these ones here? Oh my word. And then we'll go that kind of idea. There we go. Not before I sort of take everything out. Yeah. So you got like different shoes like that kind of, yeah. They've got like normal, yeah. And then you got the, so all they got, at the moment, they've got so many different shoes going on, man. It's just mental. But they're just killing it when it comes to their shoes at the moment. They're just making so many really good sets of shoes to suit anyone. But excuse me, YouTube Winnie Pops. Right, where are we going? R3 Noble, hello. Thoughts on the 5-degree gap between scoring irons and 923 Forge? Seems like lots of partial shots need to play that gapping. Right, so let me have a quick look-aroo and let's go get this one. We'll look at it in some form of detail to a certain extent. So zoom down here, let's get down to where they normally do the thing. So right, you've got here 21 4 iron. Can I don't know if I can do this. Can I get this up on the, what's it called? Up on the screen? If I can get this up on the screen, that'd be really good, wouldn't it? Let's double click that. No, let's go click that one. This may work, this may not work. I apologize. I'll flick over to, or can I get it on here? Let's have a little look. Can I window capture? Oh, this is all fun, isn't it? When you're trying to get this done. And I'll open it up. Yeah. Okay. So, no, I won't be able, okay, I'll be able to do it, but I won't be able to do it to the level I want it to do. So you just have to bear with me when I do this, right? So it's not going to be the best produced thing in the world, but I'll transition it to here so you can see. Right, so you can see, where's my, there it is. There's my hand over here. There it is. Right, so you've got the, I'll move it across if not. You've got your 4 all the way down to your gap wedge there. And the big nose on here, right, is basically where it says there, between the 8 iron there at 34 degrees, the 9 iron there at 39. Then you've got 44 and 49, right? So you have, you're right, you've got the largest gaps when it comes to the largest amounts of deflection. And what I mean by largest amounts of deflection, I mean effectively we are talking about loft. And now, as soon as you start, there's a reason why golf clubs run at gaps, and the gaps dwindle as time goes, well, as loft comes off. So you get 5-degree gaps. There's always been the case of a lot of game improvement irons, you have 5-degree gaps, or players distance irons 5-degree gaps, especially down the lower end. And then as soon as you go to say 6 iron or soft to 5 iron, they kind of go like 4-degree gaps, and then before you get to 4 iron and 3 iron, they're 3-degree gaps, they're smaller. And that's because as deflection, as sort of loft comes off, deflection reduces and it's more of a blunt strike. So you get, it's not a linear curve. You don't quite get the same ball speed change as loft comes off. So there's no, as you start getting less and less loft, you can take less loft off and you get more out of it. So if you were running 5-degree gaps all the way through, at the moment they try and do the transition of technology and the transition of gapping when it comes to loft to make sure the gaps of the distance, the physical distance between each golf clubs remains similar or the same, yeah? If you just had everything of say 4 degrees all the way through from pitch and wedge all the way to 3 iron, what you'd end up doing, you'd end up having a certain amount of gap down on your pitch and wedge and then a huge gap between a 3 and a 4 iron, because that 4 degrees between 3 and a 4 iron actually translates to a far more distance than it does between the 4 degrees between the 9 iron and the pitching wedge, if that makes sense. So when it comes to golf clubs that make the change, that change around, and especially when it comes to technology and blending certain things out, they do it for a reason. Now, okay, if you're going to be running these golf clubs, give or take, at full-on speeds, this is just the forged, at my speed, yes, I'm going to be concerned about that extra degree. We are talking about, I normally run at around about 13 yards or so, 12-13 yard gaps between mine, say 13 yards or so. Now if you add from 4 degrees to 5 degrees, that's now going to be bigger, and I don't like that. So I always would go to a traditionally lofted set, because I've got the traditionally lofted gaps like 4 degrees, because I swing faster. The reason why the gaps are bigger for game improvement irons is because generally therefore people that swing slower, which need that bigger loft gap. If not, if they played my 4-degree loft gap differences, what would actually happen at their slower swing speed of 70 something odd miles an hour, the difference between that 8 iron and 9 iron would be about 7 yards. And that's not a functional gap, that's like half a club. So they have this bigger gap, so they're 10 yards again. And then that becomes more functional. They can have a 140, 150, 160 yard golf club because they have these gaps. That's the reason why I do them. Would they bother me? Yes, they would, because obviously 5 degrees is quite a lot for my speed. But if you've got a swing speed of say 80 to 85 miles an hour, they're absolutely ideal. Absolutely ideal, no problem whatsoever. Right. Yeah. I should get paid to do this, shouldn't I? Oh, it's good though. I like the technical ones, they're good. Right, where was I? I gotta remember where I was. Visual, thank you very much. You are a very, very kind soul. I just noticed that Visual's just donated $19.99. That is a very, very, very kind thing to do, and I very much appreciate it. I am now going to be, I'll skip through and I'll tackle Visual's question straight away because of the very, very kind donation that he's just given. That's the least I can do. Visual, for you. Jay. Are you a fan of using a set gap wedge? Pros, cons. I think a lot of us high mid handicappers use a set of 3 wedges after a pitch wedge. That includes me, like a Cleveland or Vokeys. Are you a fan of using a set gap wedge? So we're saying something like a gap wedge in a 923. So like no different to, I'll just transition over again so I can show you what I mean. That one there. So if you look at that, obviously that's the JPX 923 forged, and that comes with a gap wedge. Do I like it? I don't have any likes or dislikes either way. When it comes to most, if not all of them now, they're, especially within the Mizuno range, if you look at the gap wedges that they do, they are always there, the gap wedges, they're blending towards what their next natural change would be. So without again going back to, it's very, very difficult because I haven't got it. But I haven't got a forged gap wedge, and I did say that to Mizuno because it is a bit of a daft thing. So when it comes to when they sent out JPX 923 forged tours, whatever it would be, and have I got them in here? You'll get to see. Oh, I'm over here now, guys. Yeah, I've got another bag of bits and pieces down here, and what I try and do, I want to try and, if I can, is that the right ones? Or if I want to get the right ones here. Is it the IOs? Yeah, it's the right ones. Right, okay. Okay, so back now. Got too much stuff everywhere. Right, so this is not a perfect example. It's not, unfortunately, because I would love to have a JPX 923 forged gap wedge. And I did say to Mizuno that when you sent out the media samples to everybody, you made a point of saying about how much something like the JPX 923 forged, how it's designed as the set progresses down towards the gap wedge, that it blends into the new wedges. That's the whole idea of them. And it was no different to the Mizuno Pro. So the Mizuno Pro, I've got the gap wedge here, look, in the, just dropping stuff. I've got the gap wedge in the 225, yeah, and yeah. But that head, yeah, looks very, 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 very similar in dimension, shape, and design as such to a T22. So when it comes to the transition into a T22, there wasn't this huge change in shape that would give the better player a look and go, ooh, I don't like that. So it's no different to the new JPX 923 series in that sense. Especially into the forged, they blend much more into the new S23. So the looks of an S23 when it comes to what you see down by the ball and stuff like that. I'm just touching my microphone, so I apologise if that made a noise. But when you see that, the shape of that, that will be similar. I mean, it looks fatter on camera than it actually is in real life. Poor camera angle, but it looks much more in line with a gap wedge. So when you go, say gap wedge in, say, a 923 forge, obviously that's not a 923 forge, but you know, that is a gap wedge. There's no shock then going into this, the next custom wedge. That's the whole idea of them doing it. So I don't mind using it. So GolfNut say bye all later, Jay. Keep up the good work and see you next week. Everyone stay safe and be well. Thanks very much, GolfNut, for popping on. It is a much obliged having you on as always. But yeah, so that's the big difference. I don't really mind. If it blends fine, if I had it there, it wouldn't bother me. Or to use a T22 50 degree wouldn't bother me. As long as, the only thing that bothers me is this, as long as I can get them fit to suit loft gappings and the distance I want to hit, don't care. Doesn't worry me in the slightest. Right. Richard Russell, 98 say, great content, keep it up, got to go, sorry. Absolutely fine, Richard, appreciate it for dropping on and jumping in with the chat. So yeah, when it comes to Golf Addict Canada, you're going to struggle when it comes, I don't know. Reach out to the Vosh, Chris Fossil. He can be found on Twitter like that. So reach out to him, ask him if there's any places that you can get them in Canada. He's a wealth. He's an absolute wealth of information. That guy. He's a brilliant guy. So enthusiastic. Randy Mahoney, Jay, I'm 70 and need distance, but I also want a descent angle. What clubs would you advise trying? Well, again, I would possibly try a hot metal and then also try a hot metal high launch and see what the differences are. Definitely you're going to get more descent angle with a high launch, and you potentially might get more distance with a hot metal depending on what your swing speed is. If your swing speed's in or around sort of 70 or less, the chances are you're going to get more and more from a high launch than you are. But all manufacturers are now starting to gravitate towards this option of high launch. Or I like, and this is not saying because of what I'm wearing, I actually like Mizuno's way of doing it. They don't compromise in trying to strip the living daylights out of a golf club to reduce the weight. What they're trying to do is they're trying to mess around with the technology and the CG of the head to try and maximize what you got. Okay, the head, we're not talking is made of like concrete, so it's not heavy or is not light as a feather, but other manufacturers of what they've done, they've stripped weight out of the head and stripped weight out of everything to try and promote you to swing it faster. But there is a compromise by doing that. If you try and change the mass in a way, reduce the mass in a way to try and get it going faster, yes you can. The problem is, because the mass is then stripped from the head, the moment of inertia is taken away as well. So, sorry, resistance to twist or forgiveness, what people thinks. And as soon as you take that away, you now make a golf club, which is supposed to be a game improvement golf club and trying to make you swing it faster, now less forgiving. And also, if you strip weight from the head, you strip the CG as low from the head, which means then you reduce the initial launch that you're going to get, because obviously the CG is now not as low as it used to be relative to the ball, so you don't get the helping launch. Yeah, multifaceted answer, unfortunately. But I would definitely try the hot metals and then also the hot metal high launch as well. See what the differences are and let me know. Golf said, lol, great, now you've showed me all those shoes, I must now get some of them, thanks a lot, no problem. Mr. Mumbles, are the Mizuno Wave Hazards breathable? If not, recommendation relatively more breathable golf shoes, ideally from Mizuno. Right, so anything sort of like, especially the new ones, we've got the Gore-Tex, there we go, they breathe exceptionally well. Well. See? Scientific test. No, they do. They breathe very well. These ones won't breathe as well. Yeah, the cheaper ones. But these ones have got a year's warranty when it comes to waterproof, and they're breathable, yes, but these ones are definitely breathable and they have a 2-year warranty because they've got the Gore-Tex upper on them. So better shoe, but obviously more expensive. So again, you'd always, yeah, money in it. Where have we got to? Abstract AV. Hello, sorry pal, super late. Hope you're all having fun. It's always good to have you here. Always good to have you. I'm going to be going soon anyway because it is now 20 past 10. Vishal says, Jay, are you a fan of using a set? I've done that already, but say thank you very much again for Vishal for the donation. It is. And Niels, I said, I like Vishal's question, have the same. So hopefully I have answered it adequately for both. Vishal says, what I mean, my P790s, they have their own gap wedge, but I have a 50, 55, 60 Vokey with the dynamic spinners. I would pick the one which suits your loft gapping better and the feel better and your control better. After that one, go with that. Will, hello Will, hello Will. Hello Will, hello Will, hello Will, hello Will. Oh, that's a poor joke, sorry. Will, hello Will. I bought some old school Mizuno MP 30 irons from the range to work on ball striking. Yeah, and those fuzzy phalange feelings when you get it wrong. What's your thoughts on modern blades, the early 2000s in feel and additional forgiveness? Well, they have come along a long way. If anything, to understand, they're a little bit more advantaged in their CG nowadays. They've changed the CG from the heel into much more of a more centralized location, a slightly lower and moving around CG when it comes to the blades modern day, which does make them more forgiving than years ago. More advantageous to launch when it comes to, especially to the harder to hit longer blades. So they've done quite a lot with a blade, considering it's basically a slab of metal, but it's where they put that weight within that slab of metal, which is the important part. So yeah, I would say that a 20-year-old blade compared to say like a 221, I would definitely, and I know that the 221 is itchy snozzer, itchy YouTube snozzer, the 221 would be far more forgiving for a blade to blade than the MP30. Although I agree, absolutely, if you're going to be wanting to work on strike, MP30 is going to be the kid if you can try and not work those fuzzy phalanges. GolfNut bite, I don't know what already. Visual saying apologies for the same comment, but what I mean is you made a comment earlier about using the same shaft all the way through. Yes, so I would do that. I mean, that's only, I have them for me, absolutely I do. When it comes to other people though, I would say for high handicappers or handicappers of a certain level, I would always put a consistent shaft and lie through the whole lot. Now, if we have a conversation about how they use their wedges differently, then I would change that depending on obviously the requirements of the individual. But yeah, the whole idea is not to overcomplicate things, especially when you are not the greatest at golf and the biggest inconsistency within the result of you swinging is you rather than the golf clubs. What you want is consistency. You want your custom fit set to be averaged to be perfect. Obviously you're going to be either way of, which is fine, and then obviously you get better, the averages get smaller and smaller until a point you're still averaging in the middle, but you're obviously variation smaller. But the whole idea is that you aren't, even when you're bad and you've got this much variation above and below that imaginary line, if you are over here, you're going to be really bad on here, and on the opposite side of when you're really bad, actually you're quite close, but there's too much variation. Be in there, that means you vary the same amount, but you're much, much closer to perfect. That's the whole idea about custom fitting, etc. So, Devane Hill says, current playing Sim 2 irons, looking to change irons, what would you recommend? I'd say Sim 2 irons are very, very good. Why are you thinking about changing? Are you thinking about changing manufacturer? Are you thinking about changing construction of a head, as in playing a different kind of style head? What are you looking for when it comes to your next iron set? Put that down there and I'll be able to further help you out. Randy says, only 20 past 5 here in Florida. Is that motivation for me to continue on until the morning? I don't think so. Are you live every Monday, Randy says? Yes, I generally speaking am live every Monday. I will be next Monday as well, most probably. I will not be the Monday after that because I am going to Morocco for my honeymoon, finally. I mean, it's late. I got married last year, but been busy, unfortunately, and both the wife and I have been busy, so we haven't had an opportunity until now to actually go. So, and even now, I've got so much to do. I've got to go because I've got to drop stuff and just go, because if not, I'm never going to go. And yeah, so she knows she deserves a break, and it'd be good for her to get away for a bit. So next week, yes, and the week after that I won't be, but I will be back the week after because I'm only going for 5 days. So Taekwon says, just ordered a set of 223s, can't wait. Very good set. The interesting thing, when I done the review for the 223, I had it in the NS Pro Modus 115 stiff shaft, extra stiff shaft, can't remember which one it was, stiff shaft I think it was, and hated it. The first shaft in, I don't know how many years, literally how many years, that I had a negative reaction to. It's an interesting, it took me a long while to get used to it for some reason. I am not shaft sensitive. I have had so many different, I've done tests between scaffold pole shafts and lady shafts, and makes no difference whatsoever. Changed cross bend profiles, cross weights, I don't know. But when you look at the bend profile of a 115, Modus Pro 115, it's a very, very interesting bend profile. It is wiggly woggly, snake everywhere. And it's the first time that I've ever had a negative reaction to the shaft. So when it comes to the original review, I felt a bit bad because I had to give a review based on what I felt. And it was overwhelmingly, I couldn't feel where the head was, which I don't generally ever feel, ever, regardless of what shaft I use. And they're great, I mean, manufacturers will send whatever shaft they have at the time. And so you get weird and wonderfuls, but I'm lucky it doesn't really bother me, but it did on that one. That's the only one I've had, I think, in the entire time of doing YouTube, that I've ever had a negative reaction to a shaft. Not saying it's a bad shaft, it's just bad for me. That's the only one. Randy says, hope you're busy on your honeymoon. Yeah, I'll be busy doing not a lot, I don't think. Yeah, I need a break as well, because I'll be busy bang at it again as soon as, because I haven't had a holiday. Did we go on holiday last year at all? I don't think we did. Just so busy, that's the thing. So didn't have a day, didn't have any time off last year. It's halfway through this year by the time I actually get a honeymoon, so yeah. Devane Hill says, different head style, looking at a player distance style, I'm having trouble holding greens. Yeah, so you said you had Sim 2s. Yeah, so Sim 2s are very, shall we say, distance inspired design, and so unfortunately you do need a very good point, Vishal, you're absolutely right, you need a YouTube drink. Thank you for your motivation, I appreciate it. Yeah, so because they're distance design, they prefer your flights to be more like ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missile. Like that, which is a brilliant design for distance, but blooming useless when it comes to holding greens. And because as you start getting better, absolutely as you start getting better, there's a point of which everybody needs to be knowing this, right? Everyone at one point needs to change their understanding of how they perceive their distance from total distance, however you think you know in your distance in your head, especially if you're a high handicapper, you see distance as your total distance. You don't think about it that way. You just think, how far do you hit a 7-iron or 150? You think about where that ball's gonna finish, 150 yards. You don't think of it that way, but that's what happens. When you start getting better, because of descent angles, your ability to hit it higher, much more controlled, and you start to use descent angle to stop ball, have more control and stuff like that, you need to then start thinking about your carry distance being your number. Then what happens then after that is a calculated understanding of what that condition of the golf course, what the conditions in the sky are doing. Is it pinning down with rain, which is making everything soft or something like that? Or there's so many different, but when you stop thinking about your total distance, when you stop getting to a point of where if you're consistently hitting a green, landing on a green, yeah? Well, as soon as you start landing on a green, you need to absolutely start straight away thinking about, I need to be looking at carry, especially if you're landing the green with the potential of stopping it, if you get the right golf club choice, then absolutely, you need to straight away go to a point of carry distance, and then do, well, it's hard greens today, there's going to be a bit of a bounce, roll out and stuff like that, or a soft green today, it's going to be like throwing darts. Because if you don't, what you'll end up doing, you'll have a distance control which is way off, because total distance will be off by massive amounts, because the difference between it is huge. When you go by carry, you're only having to make the difference between what's going to happen when it hits the green, not what's going to happen when it hits the ground before the green, it bounces on, or it does bounce on or not, or, yeah. So that's the whole idea when it comes to that. But from a Sim 2, I would go to something, I would test something like an i525 to test straight away, which would be fun. i525 is a distance player's iron, and it will give you the extra punch. But it will do it on the basis of still trying to maximize your flight potential. Then also test something, if you're in the ping route, going something like an i230. i230 is much more traditionally lofted, slightly stronger than traditionally lofted, but more traditionally lofted than i525, but it has a different profile. Has a different launch characteristics and stuff like that. And you need to understand then, you've got your speed you get from, say, a Sim 2. You get your speed then, and if you want to run it straight away into keep TaylorMade, so let's go P790 as your 525, and then go P7MC potentially, or P770 as the i230 idea, and see how you roll with that, and see what the differences are with, as soon as you get consistent hits, peak heights, descent angles, carry, your numbers there, and then, yeah, go with that. But I would probably go something like a P790, keep it within TaylorMade, or go to a P770. P770 for me is actually the best all-round one in their whole entire range. Right, so have we got any more? I think I'm done. Oh, have I done everyone? That sounds wrong, doesn't it? Have I done everyone? Right, so if everybody had their questions and everything answered, I will disappear, because I'm just scrolling back on all of them, and I think everyone's had done. So I want to say thank you to people. Before I go, I do want to say thank you to people that have very kindly donated, and it's a very, 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 very kind thing. Without people donating stuff like that, I mean, I'll be honest, I wouldn't be able to justify being on here when I have a wife at home, and she's obviously missing me terribly. No, she's not. She's probably watching TV or doing something, or catching up with her book, or working, or doing what she's going to be doing. But no, without things like that, I mean, it would be very, very difficult for me to actually physically justify me doing live streams, because obviously they take up a huge amount of time. The prep time to start a live stream, and I've been going now for, what, 3 hours? So it is a long time. And so without very, very kind donations from people, I mean, they're like, yeah. So Vishal, I would like to say thank you very much, so more than, well, yeah, because you've done 2 separate donations, so thank you very, very, very kindly for that. Niels, as always, thank you very, very much. You are still, by the way, Niels, you are still on moderator, because I'm pretty certain there was a job that someone gave you to do. I can't remember what it was now. So I put you on there so you could post links and stuff like that, but it's fine. Thank you very much for also, Niels, for your ball dynamic info last week. Very helpful. It was, thank you. And Mr. Mumble, as always, I can't guarantee that I might be able to do a live stream in 2 weeks' time when I'm on honeymoon. And the wife, absolutely, she doesn't mind. It will be quick. If I do go on, if I can get the Wi-Fi to work at the hotel in Morocco, I don't know what the Wi-Fi like in Morocco. We'll find out. And if that's the case, then I might be able to do a very, very quick hello. It will be on, I think, on a tablet or phone. I'm not quite sure, because my phone, I still haven't fixed the front camera on my phone, or just got another phone yet. I'm terrible. Yeah, but so yeah. Peter McCleary says, "Oh, okay then. I do understand. Money is keen, right? What? The knuckle will always prove to be a factor." I'm confused. Sorry, Peter. The knuckles, or the heel on the top line. As in, sorry, as in this little bit here, I'm assuming, that little bit there. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not a great fan of looking at a golf club and seeing this big lump down like that. And I've had, it does bother me a little bit, having seen that little lump. I mean, but again, some people like it, some people hate it. I mean, who am I to say that it's just personal preference? And I agree, Peter. I personally don't like it, but it's fine. Some people like it. Angular geometry is ugly. Well, it can be, but I guess, I mean, different people are different. That's the greatest thing about human nature. Because of it, we get to, ping I2 is too geometric. Yeah, ping I2, but again, a lot of people think ping I2 are absolutely legendary when it comes to its design. And I suppose you could argue when it comes to ping I2, Ping have done things over the time that have really pushed the boundaries and pushed golf clubs' understanding, or golf manufacturers' physical understanding of golf club design, to try and maximise certain things. And so, yeah, it does take sometimes there some breakthrough things. Like there's no saying that when it comes to ES21 wedge, the black wedge that Mizuno done 2 years ago, the precursor as such to S23, that, yeah, the ES21 is still a blooming good wedge, but because of its design, the tour players didn't like it. Because of its looks, the tour players didn't like it. Now, a lot of amateurs that use ES21, because they're looking at it from a pure, it works, they don't really care what it looks like, it's just they're impressed with how well it works because the centre of gravity is much more towards the middle. Then they obviously don't care, they play in it and they reap all the benefits of something that works, but they don't really care what it looks like. Tour players that do, that's where S23 comes, because S23 looks like a normal wedge, but because of the changes within the head, the centre of gravity is right in the middle, which has, well, I've done a review of them already on my channel, so you can have a little look. Vishal says, I had those ES21s, they were good at the time, absolutely, and obviously S23 just is exactly the same. The ES21 and the S23 are within reason, performance-wise, exactly the same. There's no real difference at all. The biggest difference is in the looks between them. So if you do want the same kind of performance an ES21 wedge gives you, but again, you want the looks of a tour-inspired look of a wedge, that's what the S23 wedges are for. And Peter says 5614 played like a 5618. Yeah, that's quite, I mean, what's this one here? I got a 5612. What I don't like, I'll give you an idea. What I don't like, and I don't know if you can see that, I'll flick over to OBS. Right. Now, I'll try and get it there like that. There you go. I can't move it anymore because the thing's right up against me. But if I go here like that, can you see how difficult it is to read that number? The black on the chrome. That's a pain in the backside. This is the only problem I found when it comes to these, is in certain lights, trying to read what the blooming loft is on the bottom is really difficult. Either that or could be my aging eyes, of which I can't say it's not that either. So, thank you to Mr. Mumble, thank you to Niels, and thank you to Vishal, sorry, for the very, very, very kind donations. I'll say that again, because it does mean a lot to me when people do that, because obviously we live in a world of YouTube where there is adverts, and there always will be. And so people have to, again, you watch, YouTube is effectively free, so people have got into a pattern of having to accept, yeah, we've got to go on about, you know, it happens. And so because of that, when people do that and give me very, very kind donations, it's a very, very kind thing to do. This live chat is awesome. Vishal, it is, and it's only awesome because of people like yourself and everyone else that has joined in the live stream today to make it exactly what it is. So thank you very, very kindly for doing it. So with that being said, if everyone has had their say, Vishal says, I know you need to go, but when do memberships start? I think, again, I've got so many things that I need to do. I need to sort out memberships. Now, there are going to be a couple of different tiers that I'm going to do, because obviously I'm going to think about doing one as just an entry level, very, very entry level one, where people will just do like a fairly cheap one, where I will just guarantee that I'll reply to every single person's comment who's a member. Yeah, because there's so many comments that I get, I can't possibly be able to reply to every single one. So unfortunately, that's what I'll do. So when it comes to tier level 1, it'll be probably, I will do that. When it comes to say tier 2, the chances are I will have more membership perks within, not just obviously answering questions, but I'll have weekly, I'll probably do the live streams purely for members only, and then have a monthly live stream when it comes to just like the normal kind of live stream. And then for top level ones, because there are quite a few people that want my time, and I'm absolutely fine with taking the time, and online lessons work really, really well and stuff like that. But what I might do, rather than, again, I need to work out how to do it, but I might do a tier of where people can put in and can have a registered amount of time with me per month, or whatever it be. And probably that's the easiest way to do it. Javier? Is that Javier? Javier? I'm terrible. Any chance you can do an episode on wedges for those new to the game? Can do, I'll be honest though, when it comes to it. I'm more of a full swing coach, I'll be honest, when it comes to it. When it comes to, I mean, I can teach technique and stuff like that when it comes to short game, but when it comes to short game, no different to putting, exactly the same for putting, is that there are short game coaches, there are putting coaches, there are full swing coaches, there are many different types of different coaches. And when it comes to short game, no difference to putting, there are huge benefits. You go into a specific individual who specializes only in that. And so, Kieran, when it comes to, I think he's gone now anyway, but he's going to go see James Jankowski. I put him on to him to have a lesson with him. So rather than having a lesson with me, if he's going to pay good money, I want him to have the best possible experience. And so him going to a putting coach will be a really interesting time for him. He'll learn a heck of a lot from JJ. And so, yeah, that's the whole idea. It's no different to this. So when it comes to wedges, I can do, or we can do an episode, we can do some like things on next week talking about different parts of what wedges do, what bounce does, what offset does, what lead and edge this, what grinds, whatever you want, we can do something like that next week should you want. That's no problem whatsoever. I'm quite happy to do that. Right, so thank you very, very much for watching. It has been a pleasure as always. It always is. It's 3 hours and 15 minutes. So it's well, it's not the longest by no stretch, but it's been fun anyway. So I appreciate all the time from everybody, all the questions, all the good answers, some from me and some from also the community as well. So all being well, I will see everyone, or not see everyone, but speak to everyone next week. Bravo, much appreciated for your TSR videos, Peter. No problem whatsoever, Peter. I'm happy about that. Got them out finally. Good night, Jay. Good day to the US people. Randy, the pleasure is ours. That's very kind of everyone. So, it's been a pleasure. So, should we do the countdown? Let's see if we can do the countdown and get it on 0 again. Because Neil's last week said I managed to get it on the 0. So, I can't remember exactly how long I had to time it after I said 0 to press the stop streaming button to make sure that I got it on the 0. We will see. Right. So, 3, 2, 1, 0.